What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO episode 31. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Greetings and salutations. Good to be here today.
What are you downloading?
Severed.
I know. I can't wait. Are you going to jump right in, or are you going to do like delayed gratification?
No, I gotta jump right in.
You're going to jump right in?
Yeah, I want to.
I got that plane trip on Thursday. I think I'm going to wait till then. Because what I want to start tonight is something I've been putting off as well for more delayed gratification. Valkyria Chronicles on PS4.
Oh, yeah, we've had that for a while.
I know. I've had it for a while, but I was so hung up on the Division.
Yeah.
I got the Division out of my way.
Yeah.
I got through episode 2 of Michonne over the weekend. I started in Enter the Gungeon. I've been playing a lot of games, catching up on my backlog. Yeah, there's a firmware update. That happens sometimes.
I just played the Vita.
We all think we just played the Vita, when in reality, the Vita hasn't been played in 14 years.
That's true.
It's one of those where you don't even know. You don't even remember. It's just gone. You think you just played the Vita yesterday, and it turns out you turn it on, you haven't touched the goddamn thing since Hot Shots Golf World Tour. I was right. Right? Open Invitational. Yeah, that checks out. That checks out, I believe.
All right, so the system update.
3.60. It improves system stability in some games. Everybody wants their Vita to be more stable.
I guess we'll just worry about that for now.
Okay, you can do that. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. What have you been playing?
Ratchet and Clank, pretty much exclusively. I'm on the last boss. I didn't quite beat it. I mean, I'm like 5 minutes away from beating it. I had gotten to that point in the game right when I had to go on Saturday, and I have not been home until this morning.
Sure.
So, it's as I tweeted out today, it's one of PS4's best games. And
big words from you, Colin.
Yeah, and I think with the exception of Resogun, I think it's strongest exclusive. And I know that's going to be a hard thing for people to believe. I know people are going to throw another Bloodborne in there. I'm sure some people are going to want to throw Infamous in there and things of this nature. I wouldn't put that in there, but I'm sure some people will.
Sure.
And I'm talking about like AAA or media exclusives. I'm not talking about downloadable exclusives, because my mind just can't go down that rabbit hole right now.
You can't do it.
I can't. So, Ratchet is extremely beautiful, and it's fun, and it's funny, and I can't believe they're charging $40 for it. I can't believe they're not charging $60.
Doesn't feel like a budget game, quote unquote.
No,
you said it was better than Crack in Time. You think it's the best Ratchet?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I played a Crack in Time, and it's been a while since I played the original Ratchet. But so the idea of this particular Ratchet, which is an Insomniac game, is. It is a reimagining in some respect of the original game.
Yeah.
And they do kid around a little bit in the marketing, I think, and even in the game. Like, it's the game based on the movie based on the game. And so I think that I think the movie has its script that is loosely based on the first game, but they've taken out some things about it. And it's been a while since I've played the original Ratchet. So the one thing is that I don't remember many of the story elements anymore. The one thing I know that they removed is that Ratchet and Clank don't hate each other anymore, which is like a huge... I think that was in the first game. I could almost swear that was in the first game. They had the most uncomfortable relationship. They weren't friends at all.
Yeah, when they first meet, they
hated each other.
That relationship, that rapport.
And I feel like maybe in my history of Insomniac, I don't know. I talked to someone over there about it. Like, well, it's so uncomfortable, and I think that they knew that. Like, why do you make them hate each other?
Sure.
So in this one, they like each other immediately. And the story's a little loose, but there's a bunch of new cutscenes and kind of new story elements. But a lot of the design of the planets that already existed in the original game are there. And what I realized is that the shit's just implanted in your gray matter somewhere. I remember all of these planets. I remember this sequence. I remember it's just cool to see this planet, this planet, this planet, this sequence, this sequence, and this sequence that you totally played, reimagined in HD, reimagined in 1080 and all these kinds of things. So it's a beautiful game, and Drew Murray, we were talking about this on Colin and Greg Live this morning. Drew Murray, who's a friend of ours who worked on Resistance and Sunset Overdrive and Insomniac, came on GDC stream last year, and he was really one of the first people to ever talk about Ratchet and Clank, and he talked about it, and our show got heavily cited, where he was basically saying it looks like a Pixar movie, and it does. Now, I'm not saying it's like all the way there, but the game is really pretty, and the cutscenes obviously are pre-rendered and absolutely beautiful, but the cutscenes, I should say, that are pre-rendered, because there are cutscenes that aren't. But the game is beautiful. The color palette is very vibrant. And I feel like this is a must-play game. I feel like this is... I had so much fun playing this game. And dare I say, it's my favorite game of the year so far.
You're allowed to say that, I think.
Now, it has like all the things that you love. Like, it has new weapons and old weapons, so like the Groovatron's there and all that kind of stuff. You upgrade each weapon by using them. So it's a very similar, identical way that you play Ratchet.
It's Ratchet.
Then Ratchet gets upgraded with experience to increase his health. Clank and Ratchet both get their upgrades to make them in the jetpacks or whatever. But there's a lot of reimagined or completely new parts of the game too that I think are pretty neat. And There's a whole card collection system in the game. So like you kill enemies and sometimes they drop cards in addition to dropping like rare titanium, which you use to upgrade your weapons on the back end, which is another upgrade tree. And these cards, when you make groups of 3 of them, so like similar weapons, or whatever, Rhino or whatever they happen to be, they can give you like a 5% drop rate for rare titanium, or they can give you like,
Are these choices
10%.
you're making?
No, basically it's just like you collected these 3 cards, so now enemies will drop 10% more collectible
Bolts
cards or bolts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so there's an extra layer of depth there that I really appreciate. And then the challenge mode, which I believe was inherent in the original Ratchet and Clank. So like there was a whole, think about like Resistance Fall of Man or something, which is another Insomniac game where they'd have like a list of things to do in the game, like crazy things like win this battle, do this thing like in this very specific way. I think that's unlocked after you beat the game. So it gives it like some more replay value. Plus there's easy, medium, or normal and hard difficulties. So at $40, like I don't know that this game's gonna be for everyone. No game's for everyone. But if you're into 3D platformers or you want to see what Ratchet and Clank's all about, if you are obviously a Ratchet and Clank fan, this is a must-play game. Scott Rhodey tweeted at me today and was just like, we're really glad to hear that you like it, because I'm paraphrasing, but because we were really happy with the way it turned out. And I'm like, I'm really surprised that you guys. In my mind, I'm like, why are you not charging $60 for this? First of all, it's cool that you're not, but second of all, this game's fucking great. I'm surprised that they didn't talk about it more. They must have known how good this game was, and so
I think I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about why they charged that and not the other. But I think we have a question that plays into it. Hamood07 says greetings and salutations. By this time, hopefully both of you, or at least Colin, have played and enjoyed Ratchet and Clank. My question is, why aren't we getting more games like this? Why aren't we seeing new Jak and Daxter games, or Ape Escape, or maybe another Sly Cooper? I know there's a lot of talk about how people don't play these kinds of games anymore, but I refuse to believe that. Nintendo keeps making these family-friendly games, and while their hardware is not selling, the games are doing well. Splatoon sold over 4 million copies on Wii U. And let's not forget how well Skylanders, Disney Infinity, and the LEGO games are doing. I know, figures and licensing helps, but still. P.S. Greg, I finally got around to playing Diablo 3, and you were right, that game's awesome. Told you. That's my thing. And why I think the $40 price point makes sense, right? It's another Ratchet and Clank. It sort of could be another Jak and Daxter, it could be another Ape Escape, right? And for me, I'm like, cool, I've played those games a lot. But you're coming out now saying how great this game is, how different this game is, that there's all these added on things. And so it's $40. Well, you already saw it on Colin and Greg Live today. A person went over and pre-ordered it based on that, right? Because $40, you don't have to think about as much. The barrier to entry here, I don't think is, this is an unproven IP. It's I've seen this IP once or twice. Like, what is this game going to be?
Well, I appreciate the whole like entryway into, because the movie's coming out in a week or two, and this is going to be a game that they hope parents go and buy their kids, and at a cheaper price point, it's going to be more palatable for them to do that. And so I totally respect and appreciate that.
Yeah. But
when I was just reading about the game, I mean, they would, Insomniac and Sony said certain things, and I never really trust what PR people say about like games in the sense that, like this game is a market improvement, or this game is this, or this. It's like, all right, let me see it for myself. I'm not saying that they're not trustworthy people, but I'm just saying like I'm skeptical of like everything that I'm fed.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it didn't, like, this game really isn't the original game. Like it is, but it's so much more than that. And maybe maybe it's been so long since I played the original. It's not that long. Actually, I played it on PS3 when they re-released it in the collection, but maybe it's been so long that it just feels newer and fresher to me, but there are definitely like new sequences, new this, new that in the game. Like I definitely don't recognize a lot of shit in the game. And
you're not bored.
Maybe that's
you're
just
not
because I'm
sitting there
stupid,
like you know what's coming next.
Exactly. And I just feel like, to his point, Sly 4 was a similar thing. Like we've said, when Stanzaro released Sly 4, we said similar stuff, which was, why don't they make more games like this? Or why is this so good? And I think it's because they just have Sony has a little bit of reluctance with the platformer, the mascot platformer now, which I think is healthy. And so when you do get them, you're excited about them. It's the same thing with Yooka-Laylee, which is not a Sony product, but it's like, we're excited about this because we don't have them anymore. So I hope that there's some restraint shown, because I do think, this game's going to do very well. The game already critically is being acclaimed. It's gotten 10s and 9s and 8s like across the board, a lot of 9s. So when I saw the scores, I'm like, am I crazy? Like, this is so fucking good.
What's interesting is that it's maybe the inverse. It's actually part of a plan. Whereas Sly 4 just kind of came out, right? Thieves and Times, and it was, we liked it. We were happy to have Sly back. I don't think it emboldened new Sly fans. It wasn't like somebody found this game and was like, oh, I love this, I'm gonna go back and do all this stuff, right? Whereas this one's based around the fact of right now it comes out, hey, you've given up on Ratchet or just aren't super stoked about this. It's really good. It's $40. And then you hope, in 2 weeks the movie comes out, people leave the theaters and are like, oh, and there's a new game? Sure. And they pick it up and like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I think Sony has something here. It's so funny because like if people just give the game a chance, I think they're going to love it. And if the movie does well, and I don't know anything about the movie, but Ratchet, I mean, this movie, I was kidding around saying this movie's like 15 years too late, and it kind of is. I mean, the game, it's 14 years technically because Ratchet came out in 2002, but I feel like they could live again with this series. The series isn't dead. And we thought they were. Like, Into the Nexus was a game. People get mad at us for ignoring that game. That was a budget, real Ratchet and Clank game, but it really wasn't. It seemed like very half-assed, and I played it a little bit. I remember the Insomniac came into IGN to show it to us, and I played. I'm like, there was nothing since A Crack in Time, which was in 2009, where I was like, this is Ratchet and Clank.
Sure.
And I'm not the world's biggest Ratchet fan by any chance. Some people are saying like that I was shit-talking Ratchet. I don't think that ever happened. I shit-talked Jak and Daxter.
Quite a bit.
I always liked Ratchet. My sister actually was really into Ratchet, and she was the one that introduced me to it when I was younger, but, well, not, I guess I was a teenager, but she had it on
You were
PS3.
still younger.
Yeah. So it's not like I'm the world's biggest Ratchet fan, but it just felt very nostalgic. And I want to say like the writing is really funny. Like the game's funny. Yeah. And it's the first time since maybe South Park that I was laughing out loud at the game. I was like laughing at it. I was like, it's just, Mr. Zircon is amazing.
Mr. Zircon can't be beat.
But his lines are, some of them are.
And Quark's telling the story, right?
Yeah. So like I don't want to ruin too much of it, but it's the perspective of the story is through Captain Quark's eyes as he's in prison. And like what happens in that kind of that sequence of events. But to me, it's just a super special game. And I like it, and I'm surprised by it, and I'm surprised by Insomniac, and I'm surprised by Sony's like seeming reluctance to pound the fucking pavement on this game and get it into everyone's hands immediately and talk to everyone about it. It just didn't seem like a game they really cared much about. And I'm shocked by that because it's a way better than a lot of the games they do care about. Yeah. So, congratulations to Insom and congratulations to Sony. And hopefully we get more of these. That's the one thing I'm super excited about is I'm like, okay, we don't need a remake of the second and third games on PS2. Now what we need is like a brand new $60, 15-hour Ratchet and Clank for 2018.
How long
can we do
again?
that? I would say it's I must be 10 or 12 hours into it, but I am like really I mosey about when I play Ratchet and Clank. I get all the bolts. I'm looking for gold bolts. I'm collecting the cards and raritanium, and so I mean you can probably play it way quicker than that, and you can play it on easy, and you can like skip puzzles and stuff like that. So it's like kid friendly. So we'll see what happens. But I want to take my words were take it with a grain of salt. Everything I say about anything. I mean you have to kind of figure things out for yourself. But this game is fucking great. I just want to say that. So.
Okay. Yeah. While you were focusing on that, I was playing a whole bunch of different stuff this weekend, like I was talking about. A lot of it was Quantum Break. We'll talk about that on the Gamescast. However, I wanted to bring up this question from I Dream of August. Dear Colin and Greg, after playing The Division for a few weeks now, I'm already getting bored with the repetitive nature of the game. I only reached level 15, and the allure of the beautiful environment wasn't enough for me to stick around. Are both of you still actively playing it? If not, why? You had stopped. You were already slowing down. Did you hit 30 yet? That was your goal.
I mean, and now I'm distracted because now we have Severed, and which is like a huge priority for me because I fucking love Drinkbox, and we're going to talk a little bit about them in the Roper's Report. So I need to get back to it. I just want to get it out of the way.
Sure. My thing is I hit 30 the other night with Fran and them, played a little bit more, running through the dark zone, getting crazy good weapons, having a great time. And then just, I was playing Quantum Break all weekend or all Saturday. And Saturday night, Ty and Fran hit me up and were like, do you want to play Division? I'm like, yeah. And I hopped on and it was just like a fucking wall of just like, I'm not going to be in for this the rest of the way. You know what I mean? Because it was jumping in and Ty had been like, oh man, I've been milking this mission all day long, getting Phoenix credits, doing this. Then we went out and we were doing another challenging mission to get more Phoenix credits. And like you're talking about how many Phoenix credits you're earning, 30 at a pop, but it's like 150 to go get the next piece of gear that's like good. I'm like, the gear treadmill just out of the blue. And that's what the game's always been, but it was always an obtainable carrot right in front of me. I was able to get to right away. And all of a sudden it was just like, nope. This is going to be now playing the same missions over and over again with strategies and this and having people pull you and tell you what to do and where to go get this, to get this. I'm like, this is not what I wanted in this game at all. Because I enjoyed my entire run up to level 30, no problem. My secondary character, all that. It reminds me a lot of DC Universe Online, where all of the leveling mechanics and stuff were great, and I was enjoying myself, and I was, okay, that's coming next. I've got this, level 29 item that I'll be able to use in 2 levels when I hit it. That's gonna be fantastic. And now that I've hit 30, and it's to this point of, do I want to go grind on these missions over and over again? It's like, no, I definitely do not want to go do that.
I mean, I always knew that was in the complexion of Division. And that's
I knew that too. I didn't catch me off guard.
But I mean, I knew that was going to wear me out. I wanted to see the story, and I like the world. I like the Division. I think it's a really good game, but I just want to get to level 30 and just forget about it, and maybe forever. But at the very least, until the DLC comes out, I'd like to go to Brooklyn, maybe do something in Queens, or I don't know. But the world is very compelling. It's just not. And the mechanics are great. It's just not. The back end of the game is not what I want it to be. And that's just me. So, I mean, not every game's for me. Most
Yeah,
games are.
I was hoping it would slowly wear me down, but it seems like all of a sudden I'm still going to jump back in a few times. I know, because I know I'm right there on a few trophies, right? That I can just get in, knock out a couple silvers by going through completing these other encounters. I've come so far on the collectibles, it'd be kind of stupid not to go through and see those through.
Yeah, I stopped kind of just even caring about any of that stuff.
But
I'll
like
just
that's
pop the
all
level 31,
fun
that's it.
single player stuff that I can worry about myself and then see how this goes. I know they're dropping incursions on that jazz, but those are supposed to be even harder, which would motivate me more to go on these fucking missions to get Phoenix credits to keep this fucking treadmill going. And I'm not about that.
I like it. It's just
Love the game.
It's just
I had a great time
way
with
too
it.
much stuff. What you said, we have Valkyrie Chronicles, we have Severed. There's way too many other games.
Are you gonna play?
And fucking Enter the Gungeon.
Are you gonna play Gungeon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I've been having so much fun.
That game's
with
way
it.
up my. I mean, I know
the
that
thing
game's
about it is,
up my
I played it. You know, I've been beating the drum for Gungeon since me and Nick saw it at that event a year and a half ago, and. When I got and sat down and played it, I really expected it to be more Rogue Legacy than it was. Where I die, I come back, I get to invest, my coins or whatever, my bullets here, and do this and get that. And it's totally not that. It's totally Spelunky, where every time I go in there, it's brand new, and you've just got to be better and better at the game or whatever. And at first,
I love.
And at first, I was like, "What a turn off!" But then I find myself unable to stop playing it and get those, as I start wrapping my head around why I would teleport, where I would teleport to, coming back from that, jumping into the game, figuring out how to attack this boss, what my method will be for that, how to use these guns in different ways, what the bonuses are, the different characters on each one of them. It's great. What do you like?
We just got Axiom Verge Vita codes too.
Oh, nice, good. It's raining codes. It's raining codes today.
All right, so wait a minute. Let me ask you before I even take that. For Sever, did you take one of these yet?
Yeah, I took the top one.
Top one? All right, so let me just enter this in.
I'll do all the housekeeping while you do that. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. It is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It is the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet, and it posts each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the globe. So why don't you subscribe to that YouTube channel? Why don't you check out our other podcasts like the Kinda Funny Games Cast or the Game Over Greggy Show? Why don't you tell your friends? And I know what you're saying. Greg, I'm one of the best friends. You have more best friends than I have best friends. And I understand that may be true in a number of sense, but you have best friends that I don't have. So make sure you spread the word about our little show so we keep doing it and we stay motivated and everyone's happy. Because if I'm ever unhappy, you'll know. How you doing? You need more time? Need more fill time?
Well, I'm trying to see if I have enough space.
Oh, that's always the worst.
Preparing to download.
Get that big? Oh, then you should be. Oh, no.
You're gonna it'll pop out.
Yeah, you're no. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Woo!
Now,
made it.
I want to, before I go, let me go back in here. And I'm just going to delete. What am I going to delete? I'm going to delete Civrev for now.
Oh my God, really? You just started Civrev. You were so excited about Civrev.
I need space because Axiom Verge should be small, but I'm going to download Axiom Verge concurrent to this as well.
Should have got that big memory card.
Damn, I'm fucking in Vita heaven right now, dude.
Yeah, I know.
These are like the two games I wanted to play on Vita. I get them within a half an hour of each other.
Yeah.
The
Severed to the top of the list
as a cruel mistress.
Severed to the top of the list, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, because Axiom Verge, I know, but Axiom Verge meant to be played on Vita.
Of course.
And I'm gonna play the fucking shit out of it on Vita. I'm telling you right now. I never beat it.
No, I know. You made the cry. You would wait until Vita for it, and then Vita came a year and a half later.
My Vita is like so fucked.
I'm telling you, man.
It takes
gotta
like 8
get to
years
Japan. Anthony Carboni's over there right now with Maurice. Hit him up and say, buy me the color of the Vita you want. What color Vita do you want? You want that bright orange one?
I wanted the Dragon Quest one, but I will.
It's probably
maybe
available
I
in
should
shops.
ask him to buy it for me. That's not a bad idea. Something just failed, but I don't know what it was. I heard the noise.
Yeah, I know the troubled Vita noise. Of course, we all know.
Right,
it
so
well.
hold on. Let me do this. Sorry, I know this isn't good TV or whatever we do.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the hell this is. It's fine YouTube stuff, I guess.
It's just
You're making me want to go get my Vita and download Axiom Verge because I already got Severed. I'll do that.
No, I'm almost done. All right, fine. Who am I to say?
I mean, can you?
Who am I to say?
Hold on, jeez.
Who am I to say?
You get to talk.
It was actually a secret trap. The Waterman is back. Wait, hold on. Be quiet. He's coming back. He's passing by. Never mind. I didn't say anything about it.
Talking about the Waterman? My ongoing romance with the Waterman?
Here.
Thank you. Did you take top code?
They're already
they're labeled. What a nice young
Dan
man.
Edelman.
Dan. Thank you, Dan.
I like how he gave Nick and Tim codes as if they play the fucking Vita.
You would assume that if you are part of Kinda Funny, you play the shit out of the Vita, but you would assume wrong because Nick Scarpino is a jerk.
All right. While you're doing that, I guess we should get in the Ropers report.
Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be Roper's report. Time for some singular possessive news.
There are 14 items on the list this
A
week.
baker's motherfucking Axiom Verge severed dozen.
What an exciting time to be alive. And that's rare for me to say. Severed's downloaded and installed. Okay.
Yeah, Severed.
Number one. Now, this story people were asking about, Greg, and people were asking about it specifically why we didn't talk about it, but it happened kind of at the same time as we were recording at Rooster Teeth last week, the show that some people hated. Now,
They hate everything.
that's true. Now, I want to talk about it now. Number one. Major leaks have purportedly uncovered many secrets surrounding Sony Santa Monica's upcoming AAA PS4 exclusive, and it's, you guessed it, a God of War game. A deluge of artwork leaked via site Nerd Leaks, apparently garnered from a personal website of an artist who worked on the game. A deluge of artwork leaked via site Nerd Leaks, and apparently garnered from the personal website of the artist who worked on the game. That's really not a complete sentence, but deal with it. According to Polygon, the site has been taken down, but NeoGAF smartly archived the
What?
artwork.
Come on, NeoGAF, you smart
The
guys.
artwork and accompanying information suggests that Kratos is the protagonist, but that he'll be visiting Norse mythological locations this time around. Sony hasn't commented on the leaks, but Polygon sources note that the artwork is quote-unquote legitimate. And I can tell you that this is completely in line with what I've been hearing about this game for several years. So I want to, at least 2 years. I mean, you and I heard about this a long time ago.
Correct.
And we just never could corroborate it, I guess. But I've heard this
It's been an ongoing
from
rumor.
people. So I've heard this as of like we were still at IGN. So like this, my assumption is, and I'm talking specifically about the Norse mythological thing.
Yes,
So, and you've heard this as well.
correct.
So I would say that it's almost certainly real. And I would expect that this is an E3 game, and I would expect that this is a spring 2017 game.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, either of those things.
So far, that's working out. I agree with most of that, I think.
So people like their God of War. I personally don't care about it, but maybe there's like some interesting stuff here. Old man God of War, like he's older, it looks like.
This is from the concept art
Yeah.
and the gaffs. Okay. Kuro Inferno writes in, just like you can, to kindoffunny.com/PSQ for your questions. And says, greetings, Colin and Greg. I have a question for you regarding God of War. Some days ago, a user on NeoGAF leaked some details about the rumored God of War 4. In that thread, it was stated that the game will take place in Norse mythology setting, and Kratos will be the main lead, as in the previous games in the series. Now, assuming that this leak is legit, my question is, do you want Kratos to be part of this game, or someone completely new to be featured in this setting? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. You say you don't care.
No, I don't
of course,
care.
never been a big God of War fan.
No, but it's the ironic thing is that the gameplay is great. I
love playing
beat God of
God of
War
War
1 and 2. I played God of War 3 for a little bit. I played Ascension at like events.
Yeah. Well,
I actually think I platinumed God of War 1 or 2. I don't know which one. Or I was like one trophy away. I fucked something up. But when it came to PS3.
I know.
So I like the way the game's played. Very arcadey, very quick. I mean, those are the kinds of games I like. There's a Ninja Gaiden DNA in there. There's there's a lot of what I like in terms of the gameplay. It's just that Kratos is a terrible fucking character. He's absolutely awful. And he's unlikable, but he's supposed to be, but he's not like Tony Soprano unlikable or something like that, where it's like you kind of like, I fucking hate Kratos. He
There's
sucks.
no depth to him. There's no character to him.
No, exactly.
I'm mad all the time. Ares, Calliope.
So the ironic thing is that I don't want more God of War because I don't like Kratos, but you can't really have God of War without Kratos. So it's like having Uncharted without Drake. Like you
Right.
couldn't really do it. He is the God of War. So I'm kind of in the middle. It's like a catch-22 because I'd like more of that gameplay, and I'd like Sony Santa Monica to take advantage of their know-how in that gameplay because they make great games like in the vacuum. That's like those are great games. It's just that the aesthetic, in terms of I shouldn't even say aesthetic, the story and the voice acting and the characters, like this shit sucks. And that's just always the way I felt about God of War. It's what I hate when people are like, we're so up Sony's ass. I'm like, have you ever heard me talk about God of War before? Like that's one of their most popular franchises. I hate it.
That's the thing about it is if it's a different kind of Kratos, if it is that he's older, he's seen things, my whole problem with Kratos has been what I've talked about in, I think when I reviewed the collection back in the day, is the fact that he's just a terrible character. And for a character to work, you need to be able to root for them, get attached with them, feel with them. And Kratos feels nothing. He is all anger. That is all. He's always up here at 10, which means he's just a cartoon. He's stupid. You know what I mean? Like there's no characterization to him. There's no reason for me to cheer him on. There's no reason for me to want him to go out and kill these people. I get it. It's super sad that your family was killed and their ashes, you killed your family under the power of the gods. Their ashes are your skin now. That's a cool fucking thing. I would love some moments of weakness in there. I would love you to be sad about it and come down there and explore some kind of range, right? So if it comes out here and like, I don't know what's his motivation going to be to go after the Norse gods. That's a cool idea. And is it just now he's out to eradicate every god, every deity ever? Also a pretty cool idea, but I'd love a step forward for Kratos. That was always my thing with the Ready at Dawn games, right? Is that they're always telling like, oh, well, this is about his brother and this is about their relationship with their mother. And I was like, this is cool. This is the kind of shit I want. And that I remember those were the games that really got me into God of War.
Yeah, some people really like those games.
They were great. I loved them, but I didn't love Kratos in them. I love those games in spite of Kratos. God of War 3 is a great example of it. Of like, God of War 3 is a spectacle and it's beautiful and it's fun and it's like I just don't care about Kratos at all. At no point do I ever worry about him. So like when we get to our ending and it's a cliffhanger, it's like I really don't care. It
is one of these situations I do believe that for me, there are two major franchises that Sony has that just don't resonate with me, and it's Killzone and it's God of War. And Killzone went in the right direction with Shadowfall. with what's the one on Vita? Why can't I think of it? Mercenary. Liberation's the PSP one. So they started like trending. I'm like, okay, like I actually want to kind of see Killzone. And with 3 and then Ascension, 3 I was like, I just can't. And then Ascension, like I really was like, I can't fucking do this.
Yeah.
And Ascension, I was like, oh no. Like the multiplayer is actually pretty fun, but this is not why I play games. So I'm like, they're trending in the other direction. So
yeah.
While Killzone has something to prove to me when it inevitably comes back, in terms of can they sustain what I think Shadowfall did really well, and I think Shadowfall is a great game. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but I think Shadowfall is a great game, especially for a launch game. But God of War has so much more to prove to me, and I'll play it, but I don't care. And I would have rather have been, I've been way more, of course they're going to work on it. Santa Monica is very cryptic because it appeared that they weren't working on anything.
Yeah.
But they're clearly working on something, and they were working on 2 games. That's a big fucking studio. Now they're hiring 50 more for another team, so you assume that that's this canceled Space Team's kind of slot to go and work on something new. So it's God of War game.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued, but I it's clear what I want out of that, and I don't know if they'll deliver. But the problem is, and not the problem, I guess, is that I loved the PSP God of Wars. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's because putting them onto a smaller screen changed my expectations of what they were. The ability to like stop and go on and and like that. It makes sense then for how shallow Kratos is, but when I'm on a big screen, I want a bigger experience. If that makes sense.
They definitely nail it. It reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed, where they nail. In Assassin's Creed, they don't nail the gameplay; they nail everything else, right? Like especially Assassin's Creed 3 is always my example. I love how the game looked, and it was awesome because the game sucked though. Like who wants to play it? And with God of War, it's such a shame because the game plays so well. It's just nothing about it makes you want to play it. Good gameplay is at the core of every great game, or most great games. I mean, there are games that don't have great gameplay, and we have to make exceptions for those. Journey or Gone Home, 3/4 Home. These are fun games, but typically when you're playing an action game, you want to play it, and they nail the gameplay.
And that's why I play through them, even though I don't care about this dude.
Yeah, I just can't. Like, there's too many other games to play.
That's the problem.
There's way too many other games. Number 2,
all on the Vita.
Evolution Studios, the now defunct Sony-owned studio behind the MotorStorm franchise as well as the PS4 racer Drive Club, lives again. Most of the team at Evolution, which was shut down by Sony towards the end of last month, will be joining publisher Codemasters as a fully owned racing developer, toiling away on a new IP for the company. According to Games Industry International, quote, Codemasters has stepped in with an unprecedented deal to keep the team together and working on new projects, bringing Evolution Studios as a whole into the fold and making it a part of the Codemasters family. Most of the staff, including co-founder Mick Hocking, will be joining Codemasters as a separate team, working together from the same offices. I have this saying.
Fix it for your notes no one will ever see.
Same offices to produce brand new IP for the British Racing Specialist. Previous IP remains in the hands of Sony, but Hocking and his team will essentially continue Evolution Studios' work under new ownership, end quote. So there's a lot of misconceptions about this, and I couldn't really find answers, although it seems like the Games Industry International story is the hub of where all this shit's coming from. It seems like they were the ones that had the scoop. Evolution wasn't purchased by Codemasters. There's no money that's changing hands at all.
They're picking up the people.
Sony's lost all this talent, basically, to them. And I don't think they can be called Evolution Studios anymore. And they're not going to be working on the IP. They'll be working on PlayStation games still, but they'll be working on Xbox games as well. So congratulations to them. Codemasters is well known now for their racing games.
And it's a great fit, right? That's what Codemasters does. So yeah, congratulations to all those folks.
Yeah, I'm glad that they landed on their feet. It seems like basically almost the entire team's intact. So very smart, very shrewd move.
Shrewd.
Because maybe not though. I mean, they did I don't mean to be rude, but they did bungle Drive Club. At least certain people or certain parts of that studio.
Just don't bring over the online infrastructure, folks. Bring over the people who make the cars
But
look good.
the end result of Drive Club and the previous games that studio worked on are great.
Motorstorms.
People love Motorstorm. People love even the games before that, and people obviously love Drive Club. So and Sony loved it enough to buy the studio. So congratulations to those guys. A well-deserved reprieve. Number 3, PS4 firmware 3.50 is live, and you've probably already downloaded it and messed with it a bit. But there are more tweaks, fixes, and new additions in the firmware than meets the eye. Reddit created a so-called mega thread to compile some of the under-the-radar additions to PS4 via 3.50. So while we knew you could now appear offline or search communities easier or play music from your USB again, unannounced tweaks include party member limits from 2 to 8 users, disabling of screenshot notifications, and life from PlayStation tweaks as well. The PS4 Reddit has full list if you want to check it out. Props to the users there for compiling all of that. So it seems like there's a lot of back-end shit that they did not talk about that is fixing it. I don't know why they would do that. It's weird.
They knew nerds like us would dig in and get it on their own. They need to make enough about it.
Like things that weren't even in the patch
Make a big
notes.
stink. Surprises. Here's a surprise.
Yeah. Seems a little weird to me.
Yeah. When has Sony been normal?
Never. Number 4, Naughty Dog is apparently open to Uncharted continuing. Not under them, but under a different developer. In a conversation with Games Radar, Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann answered a question about another studio taking the mantle, to which he said, quote, "If they made a great game, I'd be excited. I'd want to play an Uncharted game I didn't work on. Excuse me. It'd be a lot of fun. Obviously, we would have a big part in it as the creators of the franchise, but we just want to make sure they get the essence of it right, ellipsis. If there's a studio that can do that, then great. If not, then it's okay that this is the last one," end quote. It's important to note that it's not ultimately up to Naughty Dog what Sony does with that IP. But they will respect Naughty Dog if they want to continue it. What this tells me is this can be either those two things. It's a red herring and Drake's dead at the end of Uncharted 4, or it tells us that Drake's alive and well and the story can continue. But you can also tell backstories as well. So
Of course, yeah. Prequels, as they say.
Number 5.
Would you care? Would you be excited for an Uncharted not done by them?
Yeah, because we played a great Uncharted not by them.
Sure.
So so the proof's already in the pudding for me. Number 5. The much anticipated and long in development PS Vita exclusive Severed, which we are downloading on our Vitas now, finally has a release date. It will launch on the handheld on April 26th. The game comes by way of Drinkbox Studios, the team behind the Mutant Blobs games, as well as Guacamelee. It will cost $14.99 and will be 10% off its opening week if you are a PlayStation Plus user. So that will make it, what, $13 or $12.50, $13.50, something like that.
I hope it's awesome.
$13.50, I think.
Everything I've seen or played from it, I really, really enjoy. I hope it lasts for as long as the game
My
is.
suspicion is it's going to be awesome. Now, this is where I want to kind of get on my soapbox for a minute.
Here's
with this.
soapbox!
We referred to this when we did our Let's Play of at GDC, which is on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We cut it out so you can look at it.
It's actually going to be annotated at the end of this episode of PS I Love You XOXO.
Now, we don't know if the game's going to be good or bad.
We don't.
But this is a make or break moment for Vita owners. And it really, really is. Drinkbox Studios could be doing anything they want. They can work with multiple publishers. They make Guacamelee. They could be making a sequel, which they can cash in on. They're not doing that. They spent 2 years making a Vita exclusive called Severed, which is a dungeon role-playing game, first-person role-playing game. And let's assume we'll find out before the game comes out. We'll be able to talk about it. So listen to us again. I'm not telling you just buy it regardless.
Sight unseen, no.
But if this game is great, and it probably will be, because everything they made is great,
Based on the pedigree.
and you own a Vita and you don't buy this, then like really, how dare you complain about the dearth of Vita games? These guys in 2016 are giving you an exclusive Vita game for $15. That looks fantastic. We know what they can do. We've played their games. We know exactly what they're capable of. And we have to put our money where our mouth is with this game. I'm telling you right now, we have to put our money where our mouth is. So we'll check back with you. We have to look at the embargo information and stuff like that when we play it and we beat it. We'll have our honest opinions. And if the game sucks, then we're going to steer you away from it. But I highly doubt the game's going to suck. So this is an important game for us as Vita fans. And Axiom Verge is another important game for us. And we already know the game's awesome. So you should buy it if you don't own it on Vita. But we must pay attention to this and show Sony and show Drinkbox and
developers at large, publishers,
and let them know they may not sell 2 million copies of the game. I might sell 1 million copies of the game, but can we sell a couple 100,000 copies of their game? Can we make it profitable for them and make it worthwhile for them?
Can we make this 2016's Taco Master is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So more on that in the coming weeks. But I wanted to set that seed.
Cut ahead to PS I Love You XOXO episode 33. We're like, oh, it's terrible.
It's not going to be terrible. There's no way. We've played it and we've seen it and it's not going to be terrible. So I just wanted to say that because there's so much chit chat about Vita this and Vita that. Well, you're getting one. You're getting a fucking game from a top tier developer. And
now it's time to support it.
Yeah, now it's time to put your fucking money where your mouth is.
Don't sit there and be like, well, I'm sure it'll be free on PlayStation Plus eventually. I'm sure it'll be a giant. No, just it's time to go. Time to move.
So let's see what happens in the coming weeks. We'll have more on that soon. Number 6. According to a GDC presentation given by World of Tanks developer Wargaming, there are 36 million active PS4s in the world right now compared to 19 million active Xbox One consoles. This, coupled with fresh data from the game industry analyst EDAR, paint a rosy picture for PlayStation 4, especially when compared to its primary competitor. EDAR has PS4 at 36 or 37 million sold at the end of 2015, with about Xbox at about 20 million units. Interestingly, Vita is shown at about 11 or 12 million units sold. So, and I'm saying about or approximately because it is bar graphs with increments of 5, and it is hard to tell, or actually 10, I think, and it's hard to tell like where it is. And you can see that the numbers aren't equal, but it's giving us, so like actually EDAR has Xbox One selling more at the end of 2015 than Wargaming has Xbox One selling now, but they're calling them active units as opposed to total console. So anyway, it gives us an idea that the numbers are about 2-1 for PS4 and Xbox One. And we'll have a little bit more on that in a minute.
Stay tuned.
I think we will. I think I wrote it in here, didn't I?
Or don't.
No,
I mean, stay tuned. There's other things coming. There's a lot in the show outside of just
that's not important.
The news and the numbers.
I'm interested in what you think of this one. Well, we talked about it on Colin Greg Live, but maybe the audience wrote in about it. Number 7. Donut Drake will not be making an appearance in Uncharted 4 at Thief's End. For those unfamiliar, Donut Drake was a humorous, morbidly obese version of the handsome and fit Nathan Drake, and can be found primarily in previous Uncharted's multiplayer modes. Word comes by way of Games Radar, who spoke with Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann about why this popular skin was removed. Quote, "I didn't want to have a laugh at someone's expense. I thought we'd matured beyond that. We actually had the whole thing modeled and in there, but we decided to make the call not to do it. We had a big debate about it and kind of approached it from all kinds of angles and decided we weren't comfortable having it in our game," end quote.
No one wrote in because no one cared.
This bothers me.
I know. You get real upset about this one.
Yeah.
You don't believe Neil Druckmann. You think he's giving you the old one too.
No, it's not that. We talked about this. I believe Neil Druckmann. We know him and I trust him. But what I'm talking about here is the chilling effect of making artists skeptical or timid about the things that they're doing for humor or for anything, just to express themselves however they want, even if they want to be mean. And I think that this is proof that regardless of what Neil Druckmann feels or says, because I believe what he says, that they don't want to be mean-spirited, they don't want to do all those kinds of things, they've matured, they've grown up, that's fine. But to me, this is an example of what happens to creators' mindsets when they're afraid of feedback or they're afraid of negative feedback. And they saw this. Donut Drake's an institution in Uncharted, and they saw this and were like, now people are gonna get upset about it. You know, that's my whole take on it.
My thing, I don't agree with you necessarily. We're both believing Neil, but I'm taking the different tact of like, I don't think it's a chilling effect here as much as it is them being the people who are offended by it. This is a dumb joke we used to put in because fat people were funny or whatever, and we're not that anymore. It's not who we are. We don't want to make that. That's not our statement to make. We are the artist, and that's not the statement we want to make.
Sure, they don't have to make any statement they don't want to make, but is it not? But the question is that off limits? Is it off limits to make fun of fat people or obese people?
No.
We're both overweight.
Yeah. What up, Team Fat?
Yeah. I know people say that I'm not, but like, you know, you don't get this fucking gut. You know, I'm 40 pounds heavier than I was in college. I just have skinny arms and stuff like that. You don't see the middle area.
Yeah.
So we're not both svelte individuals.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I am as fat as Donut Drake is, and you're not as fat as Donut Drake is. But I'm wondering what I think there's more to be told from this story, not necessarily from Naughty Dog or Neil Druckmann, who I believe about their intention, but generally what people talk about when they're afraid of censorship or afraid of complaining about nonsensical shit. It's like, well, then people are timid and gun-shy. Like, why can't you make fun of whoever you want? Why can't you be mean if you want to be mean? I'm not saying you should be or have to be.
I know.
But if you want to make a mean-spirited thing, that should be within the realm of possibility of you, even if it's just done not necessarily in the mean spirit, but to be funny, but it is still mean, if that makes sense.
But the whole point is like what you're saying totally makes sense. And if they wanted to be mean and they wanted to make a fat joke and they wanted to do all this, they would. I think that what it's getting back to is that they don't want to do that. I think you look at Naughty Dog as the people who are waving the flag that games are art. We can give you an experience better than movies. We can be on the level of books, all these different things, right? And so I don't think Neil Druckmann, who is somebody I think of, and I think of for sure, and I imagine he thinks of it himself too, that he's an artist, his team is artists, and that's not part of their art. They want to make something that can be taken seriously and can stand on its own and can be all these great things. And it's a goofy leftover, it's this heirloom or whatever that's tucked away in their attic. Not to mention that I've always thought the Donut Drake thing was kind of dumb because it was always one of those, a whole bunch of those unlockables are like, you don't unlock till you've beaten the game. Like you've platinumed the game. It's like, why the fuck would I come back to this game I'm usually pretty angry at by the time I platinum it? Why would I double back to play as this fat guy or whatever?
I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want timidity to seep in to the creation of games or anything.
And what I'm saying is neither do I. I just don't think this is the case. I think we're looking at it from, we're talking from two different perspectives. I can totally see in the Uncharted bullpen, the Naughty Dog bullpen, them having this conversation and they come through and it's like, is that what we are? But then to flip it to developer X, who's sitting there about to make a game like Enter the Gungeon or a game like whatever the fuck it's going to be, right? And they're like, hey, here's a great idea. Let's put a fat guy in the game. Ha 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 ha. And they all laugh and they go, but we shouldn't. Because then person X on Twitter, and that I totally get, right? Like you need to have a vision and you need to do it. And that's where the chilling effect comes into play, where it's like that those conversations are happening in developers all the time. But I don't think Fat Donut Drake fits for Uncharted 4 with what Naughty Dog is in 2016.
Sure. I mean, that's possible. And I think I'm just using them as an example of something else. I don't think that it's them that's doing anything wrong. I don't think you're doing anything wrong if you self-censor yourself. I guess that's your right to do that.
Yeah.
I just wonder, it's like we as Americans get made fun of a lot. We make fun of Italian and Irish people. I'm Italian and Irish. Like, that's fine with me. I guess I just don't want anything to be off limits. Some of the shit that's said about Americans is super mean-spirited, but I don't think that you shouldn't do it. Some of it's really funny.
I agree with that.
Some of it's really funny, even if it's mean. And I'm not saying Donut Drake is funny. I'm just looking at this situation entirely and being like, well, this seems to be a product of something greater than this specific game. That's all I'm saying. And I think that that is true. I don't think that they're necessarily making that decision. Neil's saying that they're not, based on the entire at-large kind of situation in the industry, but there is a situation in the industry.
There is a situation in the industry.
Look at Overwatch.
I definitely think chilling effects happening. I don't think that's what's happening here. Because I mean, how long? What we've been making Uncharted for 10 years now? Like, what
they've been making it for? Yeah. Like,
what are the jokes we thought were funny 10 years ago that nowadays I'd be like, no, sure, that's actually really insensitive.
You're absolutely right. I'm not saying I'm necessarily right. I just want to put it out there.
Okay.
Number 8. Sony has revealed the top-selling games from the PlayStation Network. As always, these listings only include digital sales of games and not applicable retail versions. On PS4, the top 10 best-selling games were in order: The Division, Salt and Sanctuary, Rocket League, MLB 16 The Show, Minecraft, EA Sports UFC 2, Hitman, Far Cry Primal, Heavy Rain, and Sword Art Online RE Hollow Fragment. On PS3,
did you add in the RE Hollow Fragment?
No.
Okay.
On PS3, the top 10 best-selling games were in order: Alice Madness Returns, The Last of Us, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Minecraft, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, Medal of Honor Frontline, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle, Resident Evil 4 HD, and Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The top 10 best-selling games on Vita were in order: Jack and Daxter Collection, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, Monster Monpiece, Muramasa Rebirth, XCOM Enemy Unknown Plus, Minecraft, Breath of Fire 3, Super Stardust Delta, and Oddworld Stranger's Wrath HD. And you want to talk about a developer that won't censor themselves, whoever made Monster Monpiece. And the top 10 best-selling PlayStation classics were in order: Bully, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Fatal Frame 3 The Tormented, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly, Manhunt, Fatal Frame, Silent Hill, and Mega Man X4. Black Ops 3, Fallout 4, Rocket League, and Mortal Kombat X dominated the PS4 DLC charts, while Black Ops 3 and Destiny dominated the PS3 DLC charts. And it says Black Oops.
Black Oops!
Number 9, Steel Yourselves, because the remake of Final Fantasy VII is coming to be is coming. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. There we go. Steel Yourselves, because the remake of Final Fantasy VII is going to be multiple full-size games. This according to the game's producer Yoshinori Kitase, who told Game Informer via GameSpot that the team working on the remake is using Final Fantasy XIII's 3-game structure as a model. Quote, "This reimagined epic will be the next core Final Fantasy installment, or rather installments. When the project was first announced, people were confused by its multi-part nature, but the goal is to structure it more like Final Fantasy XIII than an episode series." End quote. This according to the Game Informer itself, so this is not a Kitase. Quote, Kitase says, quote, "It will essentially be a full-scale game for each part of the multi-part series. In 13, each installment told the story from a different angle. It was kind of like approaching an unknown territory in that sense. Whereas with Final Fantasy VII Remake, we already have a pre-existing story, so it wouldn't really make sense if that isn't encompassed in a multi-part series. Ellipsis. So if we're just looking at each of these parts, one part should be on par with the scale of one Final Fantasy 13 game." End quote. He later went on to say specifically about how the remake will differ from the original that, quote, "I, along with Nomura-san and Nojima-san, who are involved with the remake were also involved with the original Final Fantasy. And when he says this, I think he means Final Fantasy VII. We were the people who created it. So in that sense, we don't think anything is untouchable. That isn't to say we're changing everything.
Okay.
End quote.
How do you feel, Colin?
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know what they're thinking with this.
This
is not going to please people. This is not what they wanted. When they asked to remake Final Fantasy VII, this is not what we asked for.
They wanted one game? They wanted one game.
We wanted a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Not you going back to the fucking well and figuring out what you did wrong and fixing it. Or making it... Final Fantasy 13 is not good. I'm sorry. And like they
now when they say there's somebody wrote in on the Twitch chat, right, that when they say that, they're saying they want it like Final Fantasy 13-2, not that it's like the way the game plays.
Yeah,
I'm not being clear for listeners and viewers.
It says the structure specifically. That's the word they use. The structure.
Yeah.
Bad idea. We're never gonna get those games in any timely fashion either.
Yeah, by the time you get Final Fantasy VII Part 1, you're still what, 3, 4, 5 years out from 2?
I don't know what they're thinking with this. Number 10. The very first official tease of Titanfall 2 has been dropped, pardon the pun, in the form of a short trailer. We know little about it other than that a full reveal will happen on June 12th. This is during E3.
And there's animals in it.
The original Titanfall was only on Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC. But publisher EA and developer Respawn have already confirmed that the sequel will also come to PlayStation 4, and yes, it will have the single-player campaign the original so sorely lacked.
Mm-hmm.
Number 11. Capcom's Yoshinori Ono has responded to criticisms surrounding Street Fighter V, specifically about its lack of content and the fact that it may have been rushed in order to be entered into a prolific fighting game tournament. In an interview with Game Informer relayed by GameSpot, Ono said, quote, I think it's safe to say that we underestimated the popularity of some of the single-player features. That said, we are excited about the 2 all-new single-player modes, character story and survival, and we have plans to continue to refine and expand onto those experiences, ellipsis. As we've stated in the past, Street Fighter V is an evolving platform that will continue to get more refined and built upon over time. For us, this is a marathon and not a sprint, and we appreciate all the words of support as we embark on this journey together. End quote. And then about the Capcom Pro Tour, which is why... So here's what he says about this. Because the big conspiracy theory about this was that this is why the game was delayed, or rushed rather. It came out probably sooner than it should have. And he basically admits that that's true. Now he says, the Capcom Pro Tour wasn't the only reason for why the game was released when it was. We understand that if we had more features ready at launch, it probably would have been better received by some of our more casual fans who tend to enjoy Street Fighter more via single-player content, as opposed to competitive play. There's a delicate balance between our hardcore and casual players. We understand that the game serves several needs and will continue to work hard to strike that perfect balance so that we can live up to our Street Fighter for All mission, end quote.
Street Fighter for All!
So he says it tacitly that it's not the only reason. Not the only reason, but they certainly tried to get it out in time, it seems, reading between the lines, for the Capcom Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do you feel about any of that?
No, I don't. No, but I know we have fighting fans out there.
I'm sure.
Number 12, the prestigious BAFTA Awards, which stands for British Academy of Film and Television, occurred last week. The award ceremony crowned Fallout 4 as the best game of 2015. PlayStation 4 exclusives Bloodborne, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and Until Dawn also picked up awards for Best Design for Bloodborne, Audio Achievement, Best Music, and Best Performer for Rapture, and Best Original Property for Until Dawn. Other games that won awards that appear on PS4 include Batman Arkham Knight, which won Best British Game, and Rocket League, which won Best Multiplayer and Best Sports Game. So congratulations to all the winners of BAFTA.
Good job, guys.
Number 13, the long-dormant Fear Effect franchise, which is owned by Square Enix, is officially making a comeback. Fear Effect Sedna, which is being kickstarted with the blessing of Square Enix, is being pitched by French developer Sushi, who previously worked with Square Enix on a smaller title. The Kickstarter project should be underway by the time you hear this story, so head there to support it if you'd like. Fear Effect saw 2 releases on PS1, the original in 2000 and its sequel in 2001. And a third game on PS2 called Inferno was under development but canceled in 2003. Remember when you can get games like year after year after year after year in the same franchise?
Yep.
Those were
easier.
The days.
They were smaller. Now you're going to have to wait
Siphon Filter.
5-6 years for the second part of Final Fantasy VII.
And now, number 14, the wrap-up. Long in development side-scrolling sequel Rocket Birds 2 Evolution is coming to PS4 and Vita on April 26th. Don't Starve Shipwrecked is headed for PS4 sometime this spring. Visual novel Psychopath's Mandatory Happiness, which takes place based around the anime, comes to PS4 and Vita on September 13th. Capcom has delayed its upcoming shooter Umbrella Corps, which is coming to PS4 until June 21st. Square Enix has revealed that a new game in the Valkyrie Profile series, Valkyrie Anatomia, The Origin, is coming out in Japan this spring, though platforms have yet to be revealed. The series' heritage is on PlayStation. The original came to PS1 in 1999, so we'll see. And finally, Telltale Games is acting as publisher for 7 Ways to Die, the survival horror game that came to PC in 2013 and will be coming to PlayStation 4 in addition to Xbox One. And that is all for the news.
Ooh, Colin. Psychopaths is a cool name. Don't know anything about the anime, but I like the name of the game. But it's so far out. If I wanted to know what was in mom and grop shops right now, where would I go?
You go to the official list of upcoming PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, sometimes PSP software by the Kinda Funny co-founders. This is maybe the biggest week of the year in terms of prolific games coming out, although there is not many games coming out.
Okay.
Because there's a bigger one we haven't talked about at all, and I don't think we're going to talk about.
Big names. Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Dark Souls 3 comes to PS4 digital and at retail. As fires fade and the world falls into ruin, journey into a universe filled with more colossal enemies and environments. Players will be immersed into a world of epic atmosphere and darkness through faster gameplay and amplified combat intensity. Prepare yourself once more and embrace the darkness. Place doesn't make
sense. You gonna play it? You gonna try it? You gonna do anything?
I have it. I mean, we've had it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know, but are you going to do anything with it?
Maybe.
Okay. You ever gonna get back to Bloodborne?
Maybe.
Okay.
Too many games.
BioShock Infinite?
Yes. The collection. I will play the collection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fallout?
Maybe.
Okay.
Ratchet & Clank comes to PS4 digital and at retail. Ratchet & Clank blasts on the PS4 for the first time with a new game based on elements from the original Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank on PS4 takes a deeper look at the characters' origin stories and modernizes the original gameplay. Featuring several new planets, all new bosses, new Clank gameplay, new flight sequences, and much more with completely new visuals constructed with the power of PS4.
The power of this little guy.
Risk of Rain, which looks fucking awesome. We've had this game for a little while, but I've not had a chance to play it. Comes to PS4 and Vita digital cross-buy. Risk of Rain is an action platformer with roguelike elements. With permanent death as a primary feature, players will have to play their best to get as far as possible. Fight on a mysterious planet with randomly spawning enemies and bosses, either alone or with 3 friends in online co-op. With more than 100 items at your disposal, you must secure the tools you need to find your way back home. Sounds great. Samurai Warriors 4 Empires comes to PS4 digital. This is out on the 11th, so this is out by the time you hear this, no matter what time you hear it. The latest title in the acclaimed Empire series is here, a new intuitive system of political management in which the best officers can be placed in their most effective position makes its first appearance. While cooperative battles are powered up, Genesis mode, in which you can create your very own Warring States era, allows you more individual customization than ever before.
Great.
And finally, Stories, The Path of Destinies comes to PS4 digitally. It says, in Stories, each choice you make takes Reynardo into a unique narrative, from tongue-in-cheek takes on heroic adventures to dark, Lovecraftian scenes. Stories' repertoire is as diverse as it is action-packed. But Reynardo's fateful decisions won't always be easy. Sometimes retrieving a weapon lost at the beginning of time means sacrificing the life of an old friend. And that is all she wrote.
You care about stories?
No, it's been bouncing around for a while, but I don't care. No.
Yeah, interesting. Colin.
Yes.
Time for topic of the show.
Tots.
This one comes from Hisam over at kindafunny.com/PSQ, where you get your PS I Love You XOXO questions read. This is going to make you feel old, Colin. This month will be the 5th anniversary of the great PSN outage. Looking back, how did the outage change things? Did Sony win back your trust, or do you think that consumers just forgave and forgot? In short, now that enough time has passed, do you think the outage had a historical impact? Had the historical impact you thought it would? No. I thought it would for sure when we were living through the dark times, when it was down for pretty much an entire month, when they were lying about what was happening and why it was happening, all these different things. It seemed like that was a black eye that would never fade. It seemed like Sony got socked right in the fucking face, and Xbox would be able to laugh forever and hang their hat on that, on the fact of like, our network runs and didn't go down and your shit's safe and this is the whole thing. But it honestly, when it happened, was devastating. It was fucked up, but it also really was the first shot in a war of like how many people, that was when everybody was like, oh shit, we're really vulnerable. And then what? Every Christmas after that has been the DOS attack, or the DDoS. Yeah, exactly. Not take everything offline and you can't use anything. And like people are buying these systems and plugging them in and they don't work because they can't get online to get the firmware. And it's like, you see it over and over again. So I don't know. It was such a crazy holy shit moment that this was happening and that this was going on, and that Sony wouldn't have an answer or a fix for so long. But it was just really, I think, the first wake up call to where we were with games and online gaming.
Yeah, I agree with you that this didn't have the resonance that it should have had. I won't even say that it would have or it could have. It should have had more of a resonance. It didn't. And I remember when we were at IGN and this was all happening, I was like, shit, like this could be so destructive to PlayStation that they might never recover from this, that this is going to end them. Not Sony, but and PlayStation's dominance or PlayStation's ability to really resonate with people because they can't be trusted, or they couldn't be trusted with.
Exactly.
With the security of credit cards.
Information. Yeah. Where did all this go?
They really fucked up.
I really thought it was going to be the end of people putting their credit cards in. You know what I mean? That it would be I'm going to buy the Amazon points and put them in there and do it this way. Why would I ever trust you with that information again? My personal data. And they do.
But the thing that kept people coming back is that PlayStation is, it's a great environment for gaming. It's a great environment for exclusives. It's an ecosystem that people have been in for a long time. People kind of forgive and forget. Whether or not that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know. I don't think that we hold companies accountable as much as we should for huge mistakes. And that was a very inconveniencing mistake. And I remember talking to Bank of America that day, right when this happened. I called them and I was like, I needed to like change my debit card number. And they were like, oh, like what happened? And they were doing it or whatever. And I'm like, you guys are about to get fucking destroyed by calls, by the way. I'm just like letting you know. Like it was in the middle of the workday. No one had read anything yet. I'm like, and she's like, oh, I remember being like, oh no. And then kind of alluding at the end of the call that they were already starting to get like an influx of calls. And I'm like, just letting you know, like this is 80 million people. Are affected by this, so expect to hear from a couple 100,000 of them probably.
What's interesting in retrospect is I think in a lot of ways that was the beginning of one of the big humbling moments to become the PlayStation they are today. You know what I mean? Where we are a company, we do make mistakes, and here's Kaz, and here's Shu, and here's people, here's Mark Cerny. You know what I mean? Like, we aren't just the logo with a million people working behind it. People had to come out front, right, and stand in front of it and be like, hey, we fucked up. And you always talk about the bow, right, at the Japanese press conference when they finally figured out what was happening and what they were going to do and all these different things, and how they stayed down for what, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. That's a great, people should go look that clip up. It's very Japanese in a good way in terms of like, I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as like a very honor driven, really unique sort of situation you would never see in the United States.
Yeah. And it was the beginning of them saying we have to have people out in front of these messages. We have to have people we have to be able to admit when we fuck up and do these different things. And you had seen it before with Shu becoming a phenomenon, but it wasn't like where it is now in terms of people getting out there. You suddenly had personalities that mattered when this stuff happened, and when the shit hit the fan, you knew who to talk to. And then it also did the same thing where we always talk about, right, of like the PS3 generation starting and beyond starting, that was galvanizing this audience, right, of like, well, fuck it, we're do or die. We're here no matter what. This is, we're connected to this brand and we're going to sit around for every week and bitch about how bad it is or whatever. This was another one where it like locked in, where like, I'll never forget that night when we came back to do the very infamous, the PSN's back podcast drunk at
which
IGN.
We almost lost.
Right. And we came back and it was refreshing the PlayStation blog and getting texts from people working on the PlayStation blog at the time. And like the map slowly lighting up as the PSN like rolled across the country back out to people. And it was like, that was a huge fucking cool moment.
You know what I mean? Trophies and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It was like this really, really weird thing of getting back in the groove with this. And that it was a company that is human and run by humans, and all these horrible things could happen. But I totally did think that they were fucked, that like they were going to come back and forever Microsoft would hang their hat on the fact of like, hey, we're not that bad. To
Microsoft's credit, they showed a lot of restraint, although I think that it would have backfired if they did that. And I think that they know that. They're way smarter than Sony with their PR. So they're just a way bigger company too, and like a way smarter company, I think, in a lot of ways. So I think that they were like just like lay off. Like they're the ones that always congratulate Sony when they release Bloodborne or another exclusive or whatever, and Sony doesn't really say anything back. So it's, although Shu does with Censor, but not as corporations.
The personalities do.
But yeah, it does make me feel old because it doesn't feel like that long ago. But
no, when this one came in from Highsum, I was like, no way. And I went and looked up the
spring 2011,
the return one. I was like, holy shit, does that feel like another lifetime ago?
But PS3 came back with strong games too. Resistance 3 came out that fall. Uncharted came out that fall. 3,
sure.
And then the train just kind of left the station. Like it was just PS3 ended up selling more than Xbox 360 worldwide. So. No, so I think it's an interesting question. It's an interesting topic. I don't think that it damaged them nearly as much as it could have or should have, I will say.
Have you changed? Like he talks about, have you forgiven and forgotten?
No,
kind of thing.
So the sad thing.
Do you still put your credit card in?
Not everywhere, but there are certain companies that I trust. Like it would be like Amazon. It would be a catastrophe if they were ever hacked.
Yeah.
And I just trust that that's not going to happen. Maybe it will. I don't know.
It inevitably will.
Or Bank of America, or your bank, like Chase, or whatever bank you use. It's like, I just trust that these guys are on the up and up, because if people can get into those, and I've talked to people actually. I don't remember. I'm really interested in that site Krebs on Security, which is like a website that comes up whenever this shit happens, like when Ashley Madison was hacked.
Sure.
Like this guy just like is like an expert in digital security and stuff. And I was just reading that, and I was talking to someone. I don't remember exactly what we were talking about or how it came up, but I was just asking, I'm like, why are the banks not vulnerable?
Yeah.
And there are reasons apparently, like how, like why they're not, because they spend so much capital on protecting their servers, as opposed to PlayStation Network, which wasn't protected at all. So
the random number generator that was not random.
the story is the best. Like that ultimately was responsible. That was the responsibility of like one person or one small group that like totally fucked the entire thing up.
Yeah.
Probably the same people that made the PSN name shit so they couldn't fuck that up too. Someone just randomly tweeted at me this weekend that this is such an old video game thing that I don't know if it's true or not, because you used to hear his uncle or something or brother or something works at Sony, saying that PSN name change, he's an engineer there, saying that PSN name changes will happen by the end of next year. And I'm like,
the end of next year?
Yeah.
That's how far out we are? What a fucking...
I guess the end of this year. He told him at the end of last year, so the end of this year.
Okay. That I believe. But I believed it at every show when they talked about it.
Let's just put it in the back of our heads. He says it will be free.
Oh. For as long as they've made people wait.
Totally fucking unsubstantiated nonsense rumor, Raleigh.
We can believe that, uncle.
But I did believe all the other shit that was told to me about the PSN name changes that were lies.
Sure. Tidix. Oh, Titus.
Still a very nice man, though.
Yeah, very nice guy. So yeah, 5 years later, I can't believe it. Heisem says, P.S. A moment of silence to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the great PSN outage. You're clicking through the moment of silence. That's the opposite of
It's
silence.
like when you're in church and someone's coughing.
Colin, it's trophy time. What do you got for me this week?
There are 4 games we should go over.
4 games with trophies.
I think Ratchet's a good one to go over.
How's this platinum shaping up?
The game was, the trophies weren't even live till this weekend, so I've not even pinged my trophies.
Oh dear.
But it seems like pretty achievable, except for there are a bunch of bronzes for specific things that are going to be annoying, I think. So like you get, well, I won't even say who the bad guy is, although I think you know. Like complete every holocard set is a gold. Complete the game in challenge mode is a silver. Collect every gold bolt is a silver. Acquire every weapon in the game is a silver. Upgrade every weapon to maximum level is a silver. Unlock every modification for every weapon is a silver. Upgrade Ratchet's health to maximum level is silver. Acquire every gadget is silver. Collect every telepathopus brain, which is a fucking annoying piece of shit thing in the game. That's only there's like 75 of them, and I'm missing one, and I have no idea where the fuck it is.
Fuck. That's the worst.
That's probably 2 or 3 hours of the game. It was me just flying around looking for this fucking thing. I couldn't find it. I was driving me nuts. I probably would have beaten the game like 2 days before. Win the gold cup on both Rilgar and Kalibo. I have that one. That's a silver. Complete every trespasser puzzle without using auto hack is a silver. And then there's a bunch of bronzes, and this is where things get a little crazy because it's
crazy.
Ride every catwalk without moving in Kalibo is a bronze.
Why is that?
Use the Groovatron on every type of enemy. Like it's just, where are you gonna know? How are you gonna know? You know?
Are there so many that you can't like just? There's like 16.
You're gonna have to just go to the plants and spam these things until it just fucking pops.
Sure.
Destroy 10 inactive warbots inside the Quartu facility. Sheepanate a Blarg helicopter commander. I love the Sheepinator. Defeat 40 enemies while jetpacking in gas bar. So it's just things you have to just go and knock out if you want. And people already have the platinum, and the game's not even out yet, so it can't be that hard. Severed trophies are live.
Yeah.
Severed, let me see, actually. I didn't say about Ratchet either, so I should go back and clarify. Ratchet and Clank has 30 bronze, 14 silver, 2 gold, and a platinum. Let's see. Severed has 6 bronze, 12 silver, 6 gold, and a platinum. And there's bronzes that are clearly story related, so Remember What Your Mother Taught You is one of them. Sever 10 enemies, fully upgrade 1 skill tree, devour every buff at least once, breach a secret blind barrier, breach a secret devour barrier. Those are all the bronzes. And then silver trophies, fillet minions, sever 4 enemies in 1 encounter, sever 50 enemies, find every secret, explore every area to 100% completion. These are probably going to be annoying.
No.
Yeah, probably. It reminds me of Ys. I think it was Oath of Felghana. Was that the one that was on Vita? Which one was on
Memory
Vita?
of Celceta.
Memory of Celceta. Where there was a trophy for getting 100% in completion. I'm like, where did I not go? Because I didn't walk into some fucking corner of the map, so it filled in. It's like, fuck this. And I feel
fuck it, I'm out. But this one will be different because it's first person. You see the map. I don't think it's going to be that hard. Like, I understand what you're saying with Yeast, but I think that like that was too much relying on you. Whereas this is like turn, go, turn.
Yeah, hopefully there's a way to see them. There is a map in the game. So, and then the golds are sever 100 enemies, fully upgrade all your skills and equipment, defeat the crow golem, defeat the cryptolith, defeat the dragon, finish the game after finding all mementos.
Sounds pretty not easy, but obtainable.
Yeah. Dead Island Retro Revenges trophies are up. This is the game that's supposed to be in the collection. 9 bronzes, 3 silver, 1 gold, no platinum. Complete the final stage in story mode, attain 5 stars on all SP levels, complete marathon mode, reach wave 10 in survivor mode, complete your first level, etc. So it doesn't seem that bad, but there's no platinum, so you don't really need to even try to get them all. And then Risk of Rain, trophies are alive, no platinum here either. 9 bronze, 6 silver, 0 gold, 0 platinum.
What the fuck is this garbage?
This one's sound pretty fun though. Defeat 20 Lemurians in one playthrough, survive 40 minutes, die 50 times, kill a boss with lights out, kill the magma worm, wandering vagrant, and colossus, fail a shrine 3 times in a row, pass a shrine 4 times in a row, find the bloated survivor, find the robot janitor, which I want to find, collect 15 monster logs, bank 20,000 gold, unlock a golden chest with the explorer's key, collect 4 key cards, drown 20 horals. That's what it says. I'm not saying horrors, I'm saying horals.
Horals.
And deal 5,000 damage in one shot. Those are the trophies there.
I'm looking forward to Risk of Rain on the Vita.
I've had it on PS4, but it wouldn't. So when I was trying to play it, it would not come on Vita yet. And I emailed Taylor.
We're the exact same human being.
And she's like, it's not ready for Vita. Or it's not up for Vita yet.
I got the same thing, and I was like, oh, cool. It's for both. And I went to put it on this. I'm like,
and
what the fuck?
It wasn't in the library.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll wait.
So that's it for that.
Because that's pretty much the kiss of death for me ever playing your game on a PS4. When it says PS4/Vita, I'm like, well, there you go.
I'm going to look now.
I'm going to continue to put into this. I was just in my download list today and I didn't see it, but
I might not show up till tonight.
Yeah, tomorrow, right?
So Axiom Verge is on here too. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself here because Hitman Go's on here too. I'm having a good run with Vita right now.
Yeah.
Big Fest not so good. Everything else foul play. Ninja Senki DX is really good. It's fucking hard.
Which one's Ninja?
It's like the one that's supposed to be like a Game Boy Color side scroller.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's not hard to play, but it's hard if you want any of the trophies, and I do want the trophies.
Colin,
yes,
we have a question for Trophy Time. This one comes, of course, from kindoffunny.com/PSQ, where you can go to get your question read, just like 2 rounds left did. Hello, Greg and Colin. I have a Trophy Time question for you. Do you think that the PlayStation 4 will ever get the trophy progression tracking like Xbox One currently has for its achievements? I think that this is a handy system, and while not a must-have, I think it would be nice. Hope you have a great day. Keep fucking that chicken. 2 rounds left.
What is he talking about? I don't know if I know what he's talking about.
So I put on a fake mustache over the weekend, some disguises.
Yeah.
Jumped into Quantum Break.
Right.
Playing on that there Xbox One in the living room. What he's talking about is like in Quantum Break, it's, take out this number of enemies with this power, right? And when you go to your achievements, it'll say for that achievement, it'll say
how many you've done.
76 out of 100.
And that's for every game. That's ubiquitous.
Apparently, according to him, and I would.
That's pretty cool.
That's how State of Decay did it. That's how everybody else did it.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
That's awesome. It's a great idea.
This is what I'm talking about with the fucking things for Ratchet and Clank. That would have been nice. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. When will PlayStation 4 get this? Never. Maybe PlayStation 5 is your best bet.
Yeah, let's be patient. Let's not even be patient. Let's just be realistic.
I understand a lot of you just got here to PlayStation Island. We've been rubbing sticks together on PS3 Island.
I've been yelling at volleyballs in the water from PlayStation Island for years now.
XMB on PS3 Island. We've been hanging out with. We're just happy we got trophies. Period on PlayStation 4 because remember when we thought those might not. We're
even happy PlayStation 4 even works.
Exactly. It fucking has games. We can play them. Good enough by me. I got a firmware update once in a while. No big deal. It's great, but it's another one of those. And this is me, Greg Miller, who doesn't have a degree in game making. It's one of those back end things that developers, I think, would have to have from the get-go with their SDK, like how they work on the PlayStation 4, how you build out your trophies for the PlayStation 4. You'd have to have it in there. So it doesn't work. Now, you've seen games in the past, very few games, you've seen games in the past having an in-game menus. And that's basically the same thing, except that the PlayStation doesn't know how to read that. That's not how it's going to happen. So maybe a PlayStation 5 perk. I was actually impressed, seeing as how when I play the Xbox, right, I'm never in it for the achievements. So I'm like, whatever, I don't care if I get them. Cool, that's fun. I'm like a normal person, whereas like I'm a psycho with the PlayStation stuff. When I jumped in the Quantum Break thing, they had a whole bunch of cool little shit that I was like, oh, this would be fun to have. Because I don't know if you know this, you don't probably. When you look at your Xbox One trophies, right, or achievements, they call them over there. I think they came around after trophies though, so it's weird. When you jump into...
He's kidding.
I'm kidding, everybody calm down, Jesus. You jump in to look at them, right? Like, it'll show you like you're 80% complete on this game, right? On the full completion. And then it'll rank you out of your friends. Like it'll read your friends list and go there and then...
That's cool. We'll never get that either.
No, and it's like time played. It's like...
wow.
The individual trophies will have these, not the overall achievement percentage.
They're straight out. Yeah.
And it's like they'll give you little crowns. Like I had a bunch of gold crowns because I'm the #1 State of Decay friends list player. I'm player on my friends list.
Cool.
But I had a bronze, another one. That's really cool. They have a whole bunch of little bells and whistles. This Xbox, man, It could be going places.
We made names on PlayStation networks 10 years ago. We can't even change them. So, we're not getting any of this anytime soon.
Doesn't automatically ping. You got to go in there.
Not
and
confident that the
trophies.
engineering acumen of Sony right now, but we'll see what they're getting better.
They're getting better.
Undoing
right
illnesses of the past, basically, with this fucking. Oh, this username shouldn't infuriates me.
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, it is what it is.
I have something to make you feel happy.
I don't even really care at this point because my name just says Colin Moriarty anyway on the PS4.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole thing too.
I forget.
I noticed you, and I don't know when you did it, but you changed your regular icon from the
Kefka to Mega Man.
To Mega Man. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's good. It's cute.
That's
good
a great shot of Mega Man.
That is a really good shot of Mega Man.
Yeah, people think that I care because of my own username, and I do. I mean, I don't know that I would probably change my name, but I actually just care because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That you can't do it. I care for all of you.
Put a pin in that because the next topic is a new segment. And it has something to do with that. But first, I need to tell you that Trophy Time was sponsored by none other than Loot Crate. Colin?
Yes.
Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you get 4 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure you head to lootcrate.com/PS and enter the code PS to save $3 on any new subscription. They guarantee more than $40 in value in every crate. Sometimes even a lot more. Spring is springing, so grab a map, your bag of holding, and some friends. April's theme is Quest. We're forming a party to explore everywhere from far-off kingdoms to worlds hidden within worlds with exclusive items from Labyrinth, Harry Potter, History Channel's Vikings, which I love questing in, and Uncharted 4. And of course, we've got our t-shirt and loot pin to help you equip for your adventures. Remember, you only have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, Jackie T, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/PS and enter the offer code PS to save $3 on your new subscription today.
Is Spock versus Mirror Image Spock?
That's over.
In there?
You missed it. Spock versus Mirror Spock.
The great rivalries of all time.
Batman,
Superman, and Spock versus Mirror
Spock.
Image Spock, or whatever the fuck his name. I know that's one of the great rivalries of all time, up there with Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee.
Cain and Abel, Batman, Superman, the North and the South, and Spock versus Mirror Spock. Colin,
yeah,
we have a new segment. This one's submitted from kindafunny.com/PSQ. You get to kick back because now we turn the show over to Adam Gurney for his new segment, Dear Shuhei.
His new segment,
Dear Shuhei.
I don't like this is wagging the dog.
Other people can do it. I don't care. Anybody can write in. First time poster in question. An alternative.
You're giving someone that's never posted before his own segment. Dear
Shuhei submission. Is a letter to Shuhei. Anybody can write letters to Shuhei. PSQ.
We won't necessarily use them.
/PSQ. You go there, you leave your message to Shuhei, maybe we read it. I'm going to take some water here because Adam's got a lot to say.
Oh, God.
Usually when I try to make them bad, I can't make them bad for you.
They're worse when you don't try.
Dear Shuhei, please, 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 and please allow us to apply filters and run searches on our PSN downloads list. When I go to my download list on the PlayStation Store website, it now runs 96 pages and contains videos, PS1 classics, Vita, PS3, and PS4 downloads, including demos, DLC, themes, avatars, and full games. If that wasn't bad enough, a huge chunk of my download list has now decided that the purchase dates have been lost and always default to the first and current calendar month. This means even if I could search through my confirmation emails for a specific item, I can no longer guarantee that quickly clicking through the pages and checking the dates will be the way to locate them. Yes, I know that if I know what specific item I'm looking for, I can just search for it in the store. But the problem is that sometimes store pages for a game will not recognize you have purchased something and give you a download option, whilst the download list will always have a download button if you can find what you're looking for. So please, Shuhei, ask your database managers to create some basic tools that make our overindulgences more readily accessible. Yours, Adam Gurney, a.k.a. Yenrug.
I like this new segment. I don't want to call it Dear Shuhei, though. I want to call it Please Shuhei.
You want to call it Please Shuhei?
Comma, Shuhei. With a request.
But here's the thing.
Every week we have a new request.
But the thing is, with the...
Even though he's not... Shuhei Yoshida is in charge of all the first-party studios, so he has no power in anything that we're talking about.
Here's the thing about it, is that we end... I'm with you on that, what you're saying. But remember, we always end
Signature.
Worst name. No, yeah, we do that too. But we're always PSN's worst name of the week is always please Shuhei. Let us change our names. That's why I like the Dear Shuhei. Okay. And I'm with you. These fucking turtles out there watching this show.
We had a turtle audience.
No, there were a lot of turtles watching this show. I thought he comes here. I'm like the gall to add a new segment. And first off, he talks about it, a Dear Shuhei thing or whatever, and it's just like, okay. And then you read through it, and I'm like, this is good. This isn't like a stupid, give me more colors for the PS4. This is an actual real thing that you and I would have to deal with. A real nerdy PlayStation issue us and the other turtles have to deal with.
I'll allow it.
Good job, Adam. Give him a round of applause. Colin.
Yeah.
Let's check in with the readers.
Hello, readers.
You got a bunch, and when I say you, I mean us, of Uncharted 4 questions. You ready?
Yeah.
C. Duffy 44 says, hey, Greg and Colin. I was fairly surprised to discover that just this week, another 15-minute long Uncharted 4 demo was revealed, showcasing yet another section of the game. This is the third demo of its kind we've seen, along with 2 trailers. Do you guys think that the developer should hold back a bit to avoid spoiling more of the game when it eventually comes out? Uncharted 3, for example, would have had a greater element of surprise if we hadn't seen epic parts of the game, like the boat and plane before its release. I'm staying away from the Uncharted 4 demos for now, but the temptation to watch more just might be too much for me in the next few weeks. I understand that Uncharted is one of PlayStation's biggest exclusives, and that they need to market it accordingly, but surely one trailer and a demo would be enough, no? Cheers, lads. Craig from Dublin.
Dublin,
Ireland. He probably knows Amy.
You said Dublin. That's what I was asking.
Dublin.
I didn't know what that was.
Wait, what did I say?
Dublin.
Oh, I put a D on the end. Dublin.
Dublin', which is
Dublin.
Yeah.
Mainstreamed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing that. All right. From now on, if you're from Dublin, you're from Dublin.
Yeah, they're showing way too much of the game.
Bullshit. They are not showing too much. They're fine. They've learned, man. Uncharted 3 was when they fucked it up with the subway commercials and the plane exploding and this, that, and the other. And here's the thing: you didn't watch our Let's Play, right?
Nope.
That demo. The demo is totally like, here are mechanics of Uncharted. Okay, I'm driving a Jeep. All right, I can mark people. I can mark them so I see them.
I don't want to know that. You're ruining it for me already.
Oh, Sully has wings. Sully can fly.
It's like Icarus.
Oh, Chloe's back. She's from Dublin. It's all mechanic stuff. It's totally not showing you a giant
set piece. I don't like that you can mark
piece.
people. That bothers me.
It's not. You're not gonna like this game then. Welcome. You didn't like Metal Gear? Too bad. You don't like this game.
Why are they doing this?
So you can see people.
That's not what Uncharted is.
Drake has an optic eye now.
He probably does, doesn't he?
Maybe. They're showing all these mechanic things to get you used to that part. They're not showing you the giant epic set pieces. They're not showing you the story pieces. They're not showing you. I'm fine. I actually think they've done a really good job of showing me enough to keep me engaged, but not showing me too much. I've only seen Elena for a brief instant. You're telling me? Come on now, Stanley. I think they're doing fine.
Come on now, Stanley.
I think they're doing a
obscure Jericho reference of all time. Someone out there gets it though.
It's only funny to you and I. Yeah. I think they're doing a great job of not ruining Uncharted, but showing you enough. I think that the trailers they've shown, the demo they've shown, or here's a little bit of Nate talking, and then the one giant we're going through, getting chased through the wall, things on fire. Oh my God, Elena! Bam! That's the real demo that we've seen. The other ones have just been, now you can use the hook and you can fall down and you can go into stealth and out of stealth. Now
I've really only watched like the original thing and that's it, like with the hook.
And I think we're so close, you're not going to see much more. You will get probably, they're already putting out the trailer. That one trailer's already
close
going.
now. I mean, we're like less than a month away from the game.
It's crazy, right?
I think. Right? It's May,
you want me to check if we got codes?
Or something? No, don't check. We don't have codes. They're not going to give us codes on Uncharted a month before it comes out.
You don't know when they're going to, you don't know what they're going to do.
2 weeks just before.
2 weeks before?
I would say even maybe less than that. Maybe the weekend before it comes out. So not even 2 weeks. It's a very obtuse way of saying that. We have so many codes. I don't want it. I honestly don't even want Uncharted right now. Please, don't give it to me. And don't give me Uncharted before the trophies go live. Because I'm sick of this shit with Ratchet and Clank where I have no idea what the fuck's going on with my trophies.
Collect the treasures. Kill these enemies.
I can look at PSN profiles. I just don't like collecting things and then my PS4 is going to die or something. That happened to me. Remember that happened to me with Rainbow Moon.
Oh, Rainbow Moon.
With the debug dying. And I lost all my fucking trophies.
Sure.
I don't like that shit.
No, I don't like it either. Odd Dino writes in and says, I've been just finished replaying all of the Uncharted games in preparation for the release of 4, and it has me wondering. I don't think he did Golden Abyss.
Fight for Fortune?
Oh, come on, get the shit out of here. Will Uncharted 4 have a supernatural element like all of the previous games? I've heard people complain many times that it's becoming predictable at this point, but despite that, I always find it fun and interesting to see what new thing Naughty Dog comes up with for the game. Would you two be disappointed if you finished Uncharted 4 and there wasn't any kind of supernatural surprise? The multiplayer beta included an item that slowed time, which hasn't been in any previous games, but Naughty Dog has been cautious about spoiling things in the beta before, making Charlie appear as a villain in the beta to maintain the surprise of Uncharted 3's opening. Will it have a supernatural twist?
Probably, but
I guarantee it will.
But that's not a problem. I mean, these are so modeled after Indiana Jones, which also had supernatural twists, so it's not like that's a problem. They're still grounded in reality as much as you can be with this kind of game where Drake has murdered 1,500 people at this point in his life. But I got to tell you, like, I don't want to say, this is going to sound so negative, and this is not the way I'm saying it, but it's just like, there are just certain aspects of the gameplay that I'm like actually more concerned about than the story. I think the story's going to be great. I have no problem with that, but it's like the choice thing, this marking enemies thing. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that they're going to upgrade guns in this thing, and I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Upgrade. No. I think it'll have a supernatural element, a twist, and if you're counting Uncharted 3's twist or supernatural thing, then yeah, for sure it will. But would you be disappointed if there wasn't one?
No,
me neither.
Tell the story you need to tell.
But yeah, but it's when you think about it more, there has to be, because if it was just they're on an adventure and there's some bad guys and they killed the bad guys and now it's done. It's just, well, I got this ink and pot at the end. That's what this was all for. The urn.
Let's see what the trophies are.
Sam hid his apartment keys in this urn years ago, and then it got put in a museum, and then that got broken into, and they took the urn, and now I got to go get it.
Yeah.
And Laura Bailey's character wants it too, because she wants to get in that apartment. She left one of her shoes in there.
Just one of them.
Just letting you know, Neil, I can write the next one. Valkyrie X from NJ says, Colin, you mentioned in the last episode that you don't think Naughty Dog will show anything at E3 this year, but do you think it's possible that the single-player DLC will be revealed there, or is it too early since the game comes out in May?
I think it's too early because as far as they've said,
they don't even know what it is.
They don't even know what it is yet, and they haven't started working on it. So the game's gold, so they're probably tweaking and making a patch now, but I assume the team's probably going to be off for a while. So I don't expect that you'll see the DLC until the end of the year at the very earliest, and by that I mean not out, I mean you'll see it at some point. The Last of Us Left Behind was a year, right?
I'm thinking
spring 2014. I want to say I could be wrong about that. I could be wildly off about that, but I feel like that's right.
Was it?
I'll look it up.
Because the way I would see this playing out is, E3's too quick. They don't have anything. I mean, and I definitely think by now they have the idea for what it is. Neil and Bruce have kicked around something, but I think by E3 you wouldn't have a trailer or anything, which means that PSX you get a trailer timed with the Game Awards again. That's when they do something.
Yeah, February 14, 2014. So it was almost a year after.
Yeah, so something similar to
not
that.
A year.
Probably.
The game came out in June, so it's like in.
So same thing for Uncharted, right? You go, game has its run, holiday lead up, and then December, whatever. You show your single player DLC, then you release it in the spring.
Give it time to breathe. Like you'll see Uncharted 4 at E3. You know, like they'll probably have it in the sizzle reel and stuff like that.
Of course. Oh God, yeah.
And remember the success of Uncharted 4 and the bundle.
Hey guys, it's me, Jackie T.
Jackie T.
Just wanted to come on and tell you that Uncharted's been selling really well.
He gets like the little hook from offstage.
All right, I'll see you guys later. You want to talk about big franchises on that there PlayStation,
sure.
Colin? Let's go to Jersey Mike, who wrote in at kindoffunny.com/PSQ, just like you can. It says, hey, Greg and Colin. Long-time listener, first-time writer. One of my favorite games on PS3 was Starhawk. I was hoping for a sequel to this game, but the developer Lightbox Interactive contract with Sony was abruptly cut. Do you guys know why this happened after only one game? P.S. Do you think Sony will hire another dev to make another Hawk game?
Yeah, I was going to say Starhawk is not an original game. It's a sequel itself.
Warhawk, yeah.
Which is and Warhawk is a remake of an old PlayStation game.
Right.
So there's a lineage here that I say that because I think there's a lineage here that will be explored again. I think Starhawk came out in that time, 2011, I think 2012, when there were just too many games.
They were putting out an exclusive every month, which sounded like a great idea. Oh, clearly this is going to move units. This is going to make things happen. And no, it totally overwhelmed and flooded the market.
Yeah, I think that it was ultimately a blunder, although I would have called it a success at the time. They just were shitting out these exclusives that they just needed to exist. So, will they go back to the Hawk games? I assume so. It seemed to me to be a SOCOM kind of situation too, in the sense of like the people wanted Warhawk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Starhawk is a nice idea to like kind of, sci-fi it up a little bit.
But it was also weird. It wasn't,
Warhawk.
it was like somewhat of a strategy game on what you dropped and where you built it, and it's like, no,
it was very complicated.
What I loved about Warhawk, and like what I loved about Warhawk from the get-go, that was one of the first games at IGN where I was like, we had the test kits when I first started working there. We had like Warhawk Wednesdays or whatever they were, and you jumped on and played with everybody. It was just like, it was deathmatch, but it was awesome. You know what I mean? Jump in, and if I always stayed on the ground. Jeff Haynes always got in a Warhawk, and then we just fucking went around and wrecked shop. You know what I mean? Like, that was awesome.
I know what you mean.
That instant action. Thank you very much. That instant action of jumping in there and doing it. It sucks that moved away a little bit.
I think that they'll revisit. I mean, I just think that there are certain things that they're going to revisit. And I think that that's one of them. I still think Medieval is going to come back. Colony Wars, I think, should be in play. I think Resistance will be back. So I think that you just have to give these things time to breathe and time for the right developer to have the right idea.
Now, why do you think the contract was cut? Was it because it didn't sell? And they were like, well, I don't want to keep investing in this with Lightbox?
Yeah, I don't know the nature. Did they have a multi-game deal with them that they cut?
I was just looking at Wikipedia, and there was a contract, yeah. And I'll read you the synopsis here, but it's not
Because I don't
much
think
more
I knew
than
that.
The studio relocated from Salt Lake to Austin in the fall of 2009. On October 17th, 2012, it was confirmed that Lightbox's interactive contract with Sony ended, and that Lightbox had laid off 24 employees the day after.
Okay, well, it was ended. I mean, their contract was up. I guess what I'm wondering is, like, did they have a 3-game deal with them that they got out of? Because that doesn't seem like something they would be allowed to do. So I don't think that I think that wording's a little weird. It's not like their situation with Giant Sparrow or with that game company where, like, we're getting 3 games out of you guys.
Right.
Edith Finch, of course, is going to be the second game out of Giant Sparrow. So I think that the game was done and they
Didn't sell well, and it was like,
it's the
why,
same thing I have
yeah.
with Superbot or some of these other studios.
Sure.
It's just that a lot of these studios had centralized plans around Sony's funding, and when that funding's pulled, you're fucked.
I think it's telling too that, you know, like, it ended in what did Lightbox do? They moved on to do like iOS and mobile games and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, maybe their heart wasn't in consoles anymore, and clearly you have to let people go because of the way this all goes and ends up that way. That's just the business, sadly. And you have to go and make games for what you believe in, and hopefully what you think. They believed in that. Now, Colin, we're going to get into a question here. I don't think we have the answer. I emailed people about the answer, but I don't think we'll get answers for anytime soon from them. But I think we put our heads together. We can explain some things.
Okay.
Tony from the block writes in and says, so I've been listening to you guys for years now. You best friends have moved from Arizona. Nope, that's right. You best friends have moved from Arizona to New York to AK and back to AZ again. You have brought me many laughs, even some tears on that last Beyond episode. You have answered many questions without my asking. I even met you guys at the first PSX. I asked Colin about that, which should not be named. But I've searched the web and found nothing, so you guys are my last hope. I recently pre-ordered my PSVR headset. I bought 2 Move controllers and have a PS Camera 2. Now I also have a gold wireless headset, which I love, but I found out that the PSVR uses both USB dongles. Is it possible to use this headset via a USB on the processing unit, or maybe a USB hub? Or am I going to have to plug another wire into the controller to totally connect to the Matrix? Thanks, Tony from the block. P.S. Olivia's juice.
That's an interesting question.
Here's how I like it a lot. Good question. Of course,
Very
we can
good
only
question.
hypothesis. We don't have it. We don't know. You know what I mean? We don't have, when you go to these demo events, you don't have time to fuck around with all this shit. My guess would be that similar to the vibe we have floating around in here, right? You already have the surround sound built into the headset you're wearing. I imagine that there's a 3.5 millimeter jack for earbuds or whatever. So I don't think you have to plug anything into your controller. I think you don't have to worry about that. And if memory serves, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I never went to the gold Pulse headset, right? Or the gold, whatever they call them, the gold headset. But I had a Pulse headset like that Gen 2 one, and there had a jack in that one for the 3.5 and came with the cable too. So theoretically, you're ready to go because I believe the Pulse would have that too. Or the
Yeah, but I
gold
think that's not
headset.
what he's saying. Like what he's wondering is,
I'm 100% with you. Sorry.
there is definitely going to be a way to hardwire the...
You're going to be fine is what I'm saying. To this extent though, no, I do not think the processing box has USBs of its own. And I do think that, yeah, you're clearly fucked with having your 2 ports on your PS4 taken up. However, a USB hub should work. Rock Band did that on PS3. I don't understand why that wouldn't work here.
Yeah, that sucks if that's the solution though. I wonder if the solution is simpler and more elegant. I wonder if there's some sort of, because the headset is so fundamental, like the headphones are so fundamental to the VR experience that I wonder if there's some sort of way for it to read the Bluetooth off of your... Now, because that is an interesting, I would have never even thought of that until the fucking thing was in my hands.
Sure.
You know? So that's a really astute question.
Do you use yours?
Yeah, so like once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
I use it to play The Division a bunch just because like I didn't want to wake people up.
Yeah.
But I typically don't play with headphones.
See, the thing about it is, and like, granted, we're gonna have to go through our litany of times using the PlayStation VR. Usually it's an event. Usually it's around 1 million other PlayStation VRs. This is a great question, Tony, because I've never ever thought about the fact that they're putting not shitty, but not fucking gold headsets on you. Usually when you go to a Sony event and you play Sony games or PlayStation games, that's what you pick up. They have the headset right there. But now it's always been the wired ones. It's always been these different ones. It's never been... I would think if they had that working, they would use it. And the fact that the argument would be... The counter argument to be with like, well, we don't do it here because we have 30 PlayStations and 30 PlayStation VRs. There's interference and this wouldn't work. You know what I mean? But I've never thought about it. The fact that, yeah, they're putting on headsets that aren't...
We'll get an answer for you. Al probably knows.
Yeah, I hit up Al, but we'll see.
So we'll see.
And it's just one of those...
It's an interesting question. It's a very good question.
With the Vive already having an audio jack on it, you imagine that this will have an audio jack on it.
It just sucks because it's another wire.
Yeah, I know. But it's already on your head. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you can just loop it over around. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. Excuse me.
There's a Vive over there.
Let's get a gas mask.
It could be if you want it to be. It can be whatever you want it to be. And when you put on the VR eyes, you're in the VR world and everything exists for you. Colin, would you like to talk about Sony Bend, video chat capabilities, free VR games, or Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon.
I knew that was going to be the answer. Who does? Writes in and says, hey guys, Jackie T here. Now that Microsoft has announced that Gears of War 4 launches on October 11, 2016, what date would you expect Sony to announce the launch of Horizon Zero Dawn? If it still launches this year, pretty please.
It will.
Does it make sense to launch an exclusive game head-to-head with Microsoft, or should they get as far away as possible? Who does? P.S. Will you game with me? Mark X for yes and O for no.
Oh.
When right now you're Sony. You're up there in the big boardrooms.
It's got to be a November game.
Okay.
I would get it out of the way of Gears. Let Gears have its time. Horizon's a new IP. You're going to have a lot to prove. You're going to need a little more time to prove it in the media. They might need more time to finish it. Shuei told me that the game's coming out this year. And I know things can change. I do believe them. They need a game this fall. They better have a fucking game this fall. Who knows what the hell's going on with The Last Guardian? That could be a fall game too. Fall 2024. Yeah, I think it's going to come out. I think it'll be a November release, probably a week or two before Black Friday. Push bundles, cut the price of the PS4, do a bunch of shit with that game. I think that game's going to be huge.
Because you basically have to give it a month after Gears. Like,
let Gears have its fucking
You got to get out of Gears' way because that's an established franchise that's going to move a gajillion units.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Halo didn't... I mean, I know people contest this, but Halo did not sell as well as I think Microsoft wanted to sell. So I don't know how well Gears is going to do. Gears is not as resonant, but I think Gears looks way fucking better.
See, that's interesting you say that because I think it resonates more. I think there's more people. I actually hear people talk about and get excited for Gears. You know what I mean? I did not hear that for Halo. You and I didn't, and not that we're the barometer or anything, but this is a game we're stoked to play. I talked to other people who weren't stoked to play Halo. They're stoked to play this. I think this is a little bit different. And I don't know what happened with Halo that it burned into this and da.
No, that was pretty obvious that was going to happen. I mean, just based
I'm with you. Yeah. I agreed with you when you said that was going to happen. That's the thing here is I feel like there's a different scent on the wind in this one. I think people are excited
game looks
for this
exceptional.
one.
I mean, if people haven't seen it, we don't talk about Xbox games really on here, but we did watch the Sounds of Silence trailer for Gears today on Colin and Greg Live, and it's fucking cool. Yeah, I think that game's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
We're gonna play it.
Yeah.
Split screen living room.
We will. We only have one Xbox One.
We get a pizza
next to our 15 PS4, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Derek writes in with the final question over at kindafunny.com/PSQ and says, "Hey guys, tonight I just wanted to play some little game on my PS4, but surprise, surprise, the network was down, so I was locked out of all my PSN games. While this doesn't affect me much right now because I can just play disc-based games, it makes me wonder if the future, when almost all games are digital, will Sony have to find some way to allow offline access for their games? Would like to know your opinions, Derek. Derek411. Turn on your PS4, go into it, go over to settings, and make this your primary PS4. If you make it your primary PS4, this won't happen to you anymore. The problem is that they don't want me and Colin Colin has a PS4 and I have a PS4 and I name share with him and whatever the hell happens.
PS3 people used to do that all the time. So
right. This is just a security measure to get out that. If you only have one PS4, there is no reason to worry about it. Put it as your primary PS4 and there you go. Problem solved. You never have to worry about it again. Go live your life in the Galapagos Islands.
Galapagos.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of that place.
That's where all the turtles live.
Oh.
Didn't surprise you to know that.
Galapagos.
No. This is different. Oh. This is where our turtles live. It's right next to Vita Island.
The turtles that watch this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Good internet on Galapagos Island.
Great internet on Galapagos Island. Colin,
Yeah.
let me tell you about a best friend I love you in a segment we call PS I Love This Best Friend XOXO. Go to kindafunny.com/forums. Submit you or your friend to get some PSN friends. This is what Nesticle did.
Nesticle,
yeah.
named after the emulator.
Of course, yes. I used your emulator in high school.
I
Say
love
Magnifique, sir.
Oh, Nesticle was the best.
It was
dude.
awesome, right? I went there and played Ghostbusters.
Oh my god.
All right.
Not that I'm saying you should do that.
No. Well, I mean, that was a different...
At this point,
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I don't. The emulator thing's a little tough because
If
you can
games
buy
out
a
of
lot of these
print-
games now. Back when we were kids, like in the 90s and early 2000s, we didn't have virtual
Nope.
console. We didn't have all these kinds of things.
The Funko in your neighborhood didn't have this game?
I do say if you have no chance of buying the game, then I don't, and it's old, it's really
Yeah.
old. I don't know that.
Yeah, the money's not going to devs anymore.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Somebody's getting rich.
You
out
might
of
have
it.
an ethical problem, but I don't know that it's really unethical either.
Nesticle writes in and says, "Hey Greg, Colin, and the PS I Love You XOXO community. This friend shout out is for my buddy Justin, who just recently crossed over from the Nintendo community into ours. I creeped his friends list and saw that he only has 4. Please add him and make him feel welcome. His ID is Dark Lord JD. That's all one word, Dark Lord JD. And while you're at it, why not add a veteran?" I'm not going to read yours, Nesticle. Trying to get all clever on that
Definitely
one.
don't tell Dark Lord that he should go back and play Splatoon and leave us alone on our island. Where were you when we needed you?
There's no PlayStation 4 island. PlayStation 4 is a moving city in the sky. There's all these
It's
like
Columbia.
ladders. You just run by and grab it. And you climb
Columbia.
up. You climb right up to it.
The PS3 is just like a fucking crater on the ground.
Everybody go on the PSN, friend and message Dark Lord
Welcome,
JD.
Dark Lord JD.
Welcome
Welcome.
him. Say listen to the show. Game with him. So on.
I'll be quizzing you shortly
And so
on
forth.
Colony Wars. Very shortly.
What if he? I mean, so he's got to go back and get like is he reading
Gotta
about
go
that?
get a PS1.
Gotta go
Gotta get a
oh.
Net Eurosi too.
Oh
Is
my
that
God, jeez Louise.
I wanted to make a PS1 game.
Colin, it's my turn for this week's Forgotten PlayStation game. I'm picking one that I know is special to you. Sunflowers.
Sunflowers on Vita.
Yeah,
I
that was a
love that
great game. I finally deleted it because I've played it. I enjoyed it. It's a great, it's a phone game or whatever. It's another
hold
type.
you hold
do
it
this
vertical.
and you collect this, and it's great. You have fun.
It was
It was
it
good
was
on
it
planes.
was shockingly special to me, I will say.
Yeah, you
because
really loved it.
yeah, I don't know. I just liked it. I liked that game.
No, I remember you being all up its ass, as you say, and then I got it and played on a plane ride, and I was like, this is great, and I had it for
It's
a long
an
time.
iOS game.
It's cute, it's fun, it's simple, but it's a good time waster. It's probably cheap as hell right now.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I honestly think it might have been like a couple dollars even when it came out. I don't know that it was like much more than that, but I have no idea. You should obviously look before you buy it.
No, just blindly purchase everything on the store.
But yeah, it's one of those games that was an iOS game, but it doesn't count until it's on Vita. It's the same thing with Hitman. What is this?
Someone texting you. I'm going to tell you, Colin, PSN's worst name of the week. Are you correct? Are you ready?
Am I correct? I don't
Are
know.
you correct? Are you
Yeah.
ready? Are you correct or ready?
I'm correct.
You're correct?
Yes.
But are you ready?
No.
Okay.
End
But,
the show.
But are you correct?
No.
Joe26713, which isn't a great fucking username either, Joe. He writes in and says, my worst PSN name of the week is Two Girls, Juan Cup. My brother Juan made his PSN name when he was 15. He thought it would be a funny
That's
play.
a fucking awesome
I know.
name.
He thought it would be a funny play on words since the filters wouldn't catch it. It was all fun and games until I inherited his PS3 and PSN when he went to college. Playing online, I am constantly mocked for my name, and people think that my
Really?
name is Juan when it's actually Joe. I since had to get rid of the account and make a new one since it was so bad. This almost killed me since I had been playing on the account for years. Please let us change our name, Shuhei. Please.
That's a fucking great name.
You
Shuhei,
fucked up.
When you do allow name changing, specifically allow Two Girls, One Cop to not change his
And
name.
to make it even better, it's two girls, but with a Gurlz. Two girls.
Oh, man, that's bad. Never mind.
Juan Cup. No, that's still great.
That's a fucking funny name.
That's a great name.
That's a clever one.
I like that.
Like Long Dong Silver, our old friend.
May he rest in peace.
Remember him?
Yeah, I don't know. How can
When
I
he was
forget?
sending us pictures of his girlfriend
Yeah,
during
on a live stream
on a
at
live
IGN
stream.
for
Guy
like
was so weird. I
2
love
in
that
the
guy.
morning.
I
It
wonder
was
if he still
awesome.
listens to this stuff.
I'm sure
Probably
he
not.
Probably doesn't. But yeah, I actually think your name's worse, Joe. 26713. So think about that. You think Two Girls, One Cup is that bad, but whatever.
That's so funny. That's a really good one. I like that. Bravo to Juan, your brother Juan.
Remember, everybody go to kindafunny.com/forums. PS I Love You board there. You can submit your worst PSN name of the week. Remember, you have to know the person or it's yours. None of this Rocket League bullshit. None of the just random names.
Yeah, Rocket League was fucking up, was muddying the well for a while, wasn't it?
It was. Now, Colin,
Yeah.
in a rare move, that was also sponsored. Are you ready for that?
I'm sure the sponsor's thrilled.
They love Two Girls, One Cup. This one is for Armada.
We can't say cup ever. Juan Cup. We both said it weird, like Juan Cup.
One Cup.
Like, what is it about the word "wan," the noun "wan"? That
Armada is the new book from Ernest Cline. Oh, I forgot that. I had one. Look at that. From Ernest Cline, the author of the New York Times bestseller Ready Player One, which is being made into a film by Warner Brothers and legendary director Steven Spielberg. Armada opens as high school student Zach Lightman glances out his classroom window and spots a UFO. At first, he thinks he's going crazy. A minute later, he's sure of it because the ship he's staring at is straight out of a video game he plays every night. A hugely popular online flight simulator called Armada. Get it? That's the name of the book. That's what's that. In which gamers just happen to be protecting Earth from alien invaders. Zach is sure he's lost his mind, but what he's seeing is all too real, and his skills, as well as those million gamers across the world, are going to be needed to save Earth from what's about to befall it. Now, this is where it's interesting. Sure, there's a book. It's available now. Go get it, whatever. They're doing a contest. To celebrate the paperback release of Armada, the author and publisher are running a contest. Prizes include an Oculus Rift virtual reality headset, not a PSVR, don't care. A Thrustmaster Hoda's Warthog joystick, sounds made up.
Hoda from...
Hodus.
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 Hodor?
Hodus.
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 Okay. POTUS? The President of the United States joystick? And many other Armada prizes such as signed books and posters. For more info on how to play and enter, visit armadabook.com/contest. Thank you, Armada. Book's available now. Did you read Ready Player One? Because that was in a loot crate and everybody flipped out about it.
Yeah, I don't know that I did. I have it on my shelf. I don't know if I ever read it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been PS I Love You XOXO, episode 31. Thank you for joining us. Remember, PS I Love You XOXO posts every Tuesday. Remember, it's kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast, so go there, subscribe, and listen to the other shows. Remember, it's the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet because of your support, and we hope your support will lead you to San Francisco May 28 and 29 for Kinda Funny Live 2. Remember, tickets are on sale now. kindafunny.com/tickets. Also, the show posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. But you already knew that. You just get it whenever you get it.
Kelly!
It's Kelly! What? Colin.
Happy anniversary to her as well.
5 years of Kelly.
I wonder if he's still with Kelly.
No way. Not a fucking chance in hell. Even though Zach and Kelly, which I remember,
it was so weird.
We were too drunk to pick up on the Saved by the Bell reference as it happened, but it was
really
awesome.
Drunk that night. I remember that night really well for some reason. I don't remember many nights, but I remember that one.
It was joy. We had pure joy flowing through us and a lot of 21st Amendment beer. Every episode of PS I Love You XOXO ends in a song in a segment we call Singin' to Shuhei. Remember, if you are one of them musical artists, you need to go to kindafunny.com/PSM. Give me a YouTube link and an MP3 for your song so I can annotate to your video at the end of our video or put the MP3 on our MP3. Colin.
You put your MP3 in the MP3.
Yo, how'd you like MP3? So put your MP3 in the MP3. Colin.
Yeah.
This is an old friend of ours. Life in 24 Frames is back. If you don't remember Life in 24 Frames,
I do.
they were all over
about
Beyonds.
this yesterday. So it's not a big surprise to me right now.
Well, I just don't think you pay attention to anything. They were on a bunch of Beyonds. They played live at Beyond 300. All right, here we go.
Sacramento, I believe, right?
Yes. Life in 24 Frames writes in, it says, November, parentheses, Heartbeats, was the one of our first tracks written for our third full-length album, Control Plus Z, and what became the driving force for everything else to come. It captures that specific moment in one's life when everything changes, when life turns a person's world upside down. It's the moment between the death of a former life and the birth of a new one. For us, this could be considered the pivotal, quote-unquote, plot twist moment of the album's narrative. We've been waiting an incredibly long time to share this music with people, and it's the most personal record we've done to date. In fact, it's a concept record. It consists of 12 tracks, January to December, that will take you on a pretty crazy personal emotional ride. Album release doesn't have a date yet, but we will be premiering at least 2 more tracks and some exclusive stuff through our mailing list, which folks can sign up for on our Facebook page or visit the website lifein24frames.com. Remember, everybody, this is Greg. The 24 is the number 24. So lifein24frames.com. Launching today alongside this track is part 1 in our 4-part video documentary series, Making Control Plus Z, which again can be found on our YouTube page and Facebook page. It's got some really fantastic insight into what this process was like for us. The last thing we'd like to do is express the extreme amount of gratitude for the amount of support and love we have received over the years from you guys and the amazing community you guys have built. It is an honor to be part of it. Seeing people tweet videos of themselves dancing at their wedding to our music, getting messages about how our music has helped them prevail through dark times, being a performer at Beyond 300, or even seeing fan-made videos is more meaningful than anything money can buy, except maybe for PSVR pre-order. But seriously, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for all the love and support. You all make creating music worth it. I hope you enjoy the new song. P.S. I love you. XOXO. Life in 24 frames. What a gentleman group of gentlemen. Yeah, it's weird because I mean, gentle company, gentle band.
Gentle persons.
Gentle peoples. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Life in 24 frames with November, parentheses, heartbeats. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.